in my soul, and this feeling I just can't control. I don't know if it's real, but I want to tell the world. Self, I feel, and move them into violence. The way and see a bright that we live, 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 we should live in love, live. Come, come, come. La 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 la. Oh, I've got to let the whole world know this morning, this morning. Cause I never felt this way before. This morning. I don't know if it's just a dream. It's free. But it really makes me want to sing this morning. Little children, come gather round. Children, I beg you, hold hand in hand. Are you ready? Sing a song of peace and be happy. In a time like this, it's not yet too late. We could break down love. You should look down thyself, I think, and turn into violence. So please, by the way, and be a bright, okay, neighbor, 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 neighbor. No more crying this morning, this morning. It's reconciliation time this morning. No more jealousy and grudge this morning, this morning. You scratch my back, I'll scratch yours this morning. Greed and envy, there'll be no more dishonesty. Oh, baby, show it all the truth. Disrespectfulness. Let's get that blue. Let love go. And when the right time comes, I know for sure. Self, I feel, and into violence. You're falling about away, and okay, neighbor, 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 neighbor. neighbor, 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 neighbor. Reach out and touch my neighbor. Too long we living like strangers. Reach out and touch my neighbor. Too long we living like strangers. Neighbor, 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 neighbor. Neighbor, 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 neighbor. Reach out and touch my neighbor. We're living like strangers. Reach out and touch my neighbor. I tell you know we're living like strangers. A Caribbean party, the entire region together in one big splash down fiesta. I say we jamming to the sounds of the Caribbean, we grooving to calypso and the it's one love, so feel free for the happy people of the Caribbean, showing that we don't want no basin plan. I say we jam to the songs of the Caribbean, we grooving to calypso and rhythm. So should every leader, for we are one people, one destination. So let us move on without hesitation. I say we jamming to the songs of the Caribbean, we grooving to calypso. To be a grand show, to Caribbean, a lot to mix up, and we start to jam up, going non-stop. I say we jamming to the songs of the Caribbean, we grooving to calypso and hip hop.
Oh, in my in this country, in this country. Beauty, From among the hills, from among the between so future by the more that you will take you should back on to know come see left to you what see living from this fight country from this fight country
Going places I don't know. Every boat without any care. One night I spent about mom and this beautiful thing around to come to my island in the sun for the spices and cool water. Like that, silvery drops falling. I love you, I love you, grandma. Little island is calling. I saw the valley, so pretty and green. Children play, what a some mom and dad, brothers, peace alone, but I don't want to. When I think I'll but love that's still existing. Then I knew I must be true to my idol in the heavenly blessing. Like that shine, make me sing, oh, so happy. This call, silver falling dead. I must go back and it's the creator that is away from time. The gas station, they say that the country is in decline. It's 74, it's like she don't ready for nowhere. In fact, they know she has been reversing that day. What I am, my son, and the one with your that star, I'm here right now. I'm just going to see a simple message. Exercise some restraint. I want God to feel not getting up. Stick my theory, but someday
We don't do no.
It's all time. But them now wherever they may go. If Christopher must come from that life, you see. As he see her, you recognize her immediately. But they got in trash. They stuck on life. She's so deep. And she is developing, but it's not a secret. She has somewhere to go, and we're not here. She take a hit, but in retreat, many others would have made not getting up. Not getting up, so we have a demonstration. I know for sure, I infrastructure could never come here. Quite a few of the countries he has out there. And in the yeah, and Africa that she way behind. And my word, that's some serious mountains to climb. But why they come here, they're not beating here. It's like cheap and chalk. Like something like we see our countries there are fighting like they can end up their existing while we live the country slowly marching. While I think that not getting up, she's only she's still working. She's still not your real. She can't take she made it on mine. That's what show. We chat and go. And it's one thing that I really so back and forth. So that she what she face, I can't that no mistake. She will provide. I'm not worried. We will go. From now, she's not getting off by she's not getting off by she just reach out and straight.
101.3 and 106.3 Vibes FM, and on all social media platforms every Sunday at 7 p.m. for 1 hour of exciting information, providing valuable legal information to the public. Join us on Legalize, a legal education program hosted by Joseph Ewart Lane, the holder of 3 law degrees, including 2 Masters of Law degrees and the legal education certificate from Hugh Wooding Law School. Legalize will open your eyes to the rights and duties, do's and don'ts, and some of the intricacies of law as Lane engages attorneys from Grenada and across the Caribbean to discuss and drill down on current legal issues, including cases decided by the court. Come, join the vibes. Legalize, 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. this and every Sunday.
Mami oh mama, I tell Clevan from the Kana. Mami oh mama, never something that I want. I tell Clevan, I did, I did, and fighting. Island Egan Pesto. I telling you that's the way to go. At cut on the green with Sydney. Never that will have your body. Strictly organic, so it healthy. That will make you good to tasty. Vitamin D calcium on island. Number 1 season on the island. 5-star flavoring. Please contact 3
Saturday, March 2, 2024 at 6:30 p.m. The place to be is 1099 Kingston Road, Pickering, Unit 243. Come and join the fundraising rally for the Feed the People program, Trinidad and Tobago 2024. Come and display your talents as we raise some funds for our second annual Trinidad mission trip. Come and join Stepping Up in Christ, New Commandment Church of God, Sister Connection, New Life Worship Center, Gem FM, and the Hebrew Church of God in a rally to remember. Donations can be made via e-transfer to steppingupandoutchrist@gmail.com. That's Saturday, March 2, 2024 at 6:30 p.m. at 1099 Kingston Road, Pickering, Unit 243. Don't forget to bring a friend, bring a family, and bring your talent.
Yes. Pleasant good morning, comrade, or good morning, comrade. But Unison, good morning to you guys. Morning. Let me just switch up here. Yeah.
Morning.
Comrades, good morning. It's been a while.
Yes, overdue.
Good morning. Happy Independence, 50th anniversary.
Are you trying to get me in trouble?
But has been down there engrossing himself in the beauty of the and taking in and soaking everything independence, and even our Prime Minister's outfit on Independence Day, drifting away from the colonial attire.
Listen, I could not believe that level of stupidity. I didn't even know which country I was in, man.
Okay, and so there's a lot of stuff happening in Grenada, and a lot of these and those and stuff to happen. But this morning I want us to just look at the celebration itself and the atmosphere in Grenada. Who was there? What was on there? We did our own thing here with Mr. Joseph and the crew, and a lot of Grenadians celebrating and like what they saw, and another different.
By the way, John, share the
the link with you.
The thing I want to share it with a couple.
Okay,
some of my friends from London that I reconnected with and what have you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Send this with you right now. Where's the budget? Here, send the YouTube link. All right.
I'm on the video. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I couldn't believe that. Well, I'll let you lead off the topic, but I couldn't believe that was the controversy. The Prime Minister wearing African garb would be controversy when you're celebrating 50 years of independence from your colonial masters.
You know what I mean? And
irony has no place.
And that's what I couldn't fathom with my people. That become a big discussion, People.
I responded to it on somebody on Facebook. Somebody
I couldn't imagine the level of stupidity. I mean, you want to remove yourself, you get in an independent form, from a slave master.
Mm-hmm.
And you said you choose your African attire with your national colors on you.
Yeah.
With standards that depicts African culture. Which, could I give Pablo a real big up on that one? I hope he bought his standards from Pablo. But but to look at it and think, well, he should dress that jacket and tie. Come on, give me a break.
Well, there's a young lady from Chanteval, I'm big on my Chanteval people.
Yes.
I had a response on Facebook. I'm going to look for it and try to read it during the show. I think she had the best response to it. And she just took them apart, And yeah, but you know what? We shouldn't give this too much airtime. I tell you why.
No. We educate people. We gotta educate them.
No. Let me tell you why. Let me tell you why. This was a non-issue on the ground in Grenada.
Well, that's I know that people.
Okay, so our people are way above that. I keep telling you about it. It's the same 12 people on Facebook, but now it's not even 12, it's 5. Okay, because I'm looking at their following, and before they used to post the nonsense and they have 17 people liking it. Now it's down to 5. So they're embarrassed.
All right.
Okay.
So before we go into deep thing here, I sent some my join us, but I want us to pull it apart, to just look at the little segments of the celebration, not only in Grenada, but wherever it was celebrated and what happened. That, and I want us to probably look at the economic side of it, of our independence, and the political aspect of it in its true meaning, what it should be for us as a people. But before I go any further into that, I would like to introduce the president of the Grenada Association in Toronto, Mr. Unison Joseph. Mr. Joseph, good morning to you out there in Barrie, and give my greetings and my warm fraternal greetings to your wife, who I tirelessly at all events that I've been at. You know, I think she will really make you look good. You know what I mean?
That's usually the case, man.
That's a rule.
Yeah, it is.
Make you look pretty with that. You know? She did you that smile. Always see her smiling. You know, always giving a smile to somebody who asking. I see things get tough, and she was just smiling through it. You know what I mean? So again, props to her, man. Give her my regards. So yeah, Mr. Unison, you could go ahead and introduce yourself to the general public of Greater Carriacou and Manic, and then to the world. Yes, go ahead.
Good morning, comrades. Delbert, good to see you once again.
Good morning.
So my name is Unison Joseph. I'm currently the president of the Grenada Association Toronto, and also the president of the Disaster Preparedness Toronto. What can I say? The celebrations of the independence was, as expected, to be well attended. We did our part. I think the patriotism from the folks in Canada, Toronto area could not be in question. We had people from Montreal, Quebec, coming down to take part in our celebrations, and which was commemorated last Sunday, Family Day with showcase, and that was really well attended to. I think John over there is an excess of 600 persons were in attendance with the food and cultural aspect of it. So I think our celebrations here, as expected, was well attended.
Yes.
And looking forward, as this is a year of celebrations, we have other events coming up, so we'll keep the public informed.
Yes, most definitely. So yeah, and but I know they call you Mr. Culture Man. They call you what again? I think Tricia Grant Louis have a name for you, but I can't remember how she called you now. But
Chantimel's ambassador.
So go ahead and introduce yourself. And
Albert, you know, product of Chantimel's and Patrick's. Been doing this for a while. Just returned from almost 6 weeks in the Spice Isle. Probably the most wonderful time I've had there in quite a long time. I mean, everybody knows that I remain an independent skeptic, but this event was unifying. When I'm in Grenada, I travel the entire island. I go into all the back villages. I do my thing. And I honestly did not hear one person on the ground complaining about anything. The events went off seamlessly, well organized. People were enjoying themselves. Even post celebration, people were still painting in their villages. Okay. And I was at one of the events, and I was standing with a longtime friend of mine, somebody who grew up with us in the NYO together and student council. And he looked at me and he said, them boys put us to shame, man. Them boys put us to shame. This, you know, and I had to agree. The level of organization, the level of the
not taking away from what you're saying there, bro. This is our students. They learn from us.
Well, I'm not going to take anything away.
No, not taking away from them. What I'm saying is that, who had it? Wendy Crawford.
Yeah.
Who assisted? The son of a main.
Yeah. So from that perspective, I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
But still, you know, there are a lot of people
it's always good
of that generation who were involved. And more for me, more importantly, was how the people in the country was reacting to the events and the celebrations and what was happening. I mean, this event was the main event on Independence Day, which was pretty much in the evening into the night. I drove by the stadium that morning about 9 o'clock, and people were already lined up, ready to go. I mean, they were that committed, you know.
Wow.
And it was just a remarkable 3-4 weeks of activities. And as I think the challenge moving forward now is exactly what I spoke about, is that this is not a singular event. This is a 1 year of activities. So now what I'm looking forward to is to have this sort of in-depth, serious conversation about the future of the country and how we unite our people, okay? Moving forward, because you cannot transform a country with 50+1. Toro always speaks to that, all right? So we have to look for a greater majority on how we transform the country, how we push it forward, how we move it forward. And I think the Prime Minister is well positioned with his administration to do that, and to people just seem genuinely happy. You know, people seem genuinely happy. There was a lot of business activities. I mean, don't get stuck in the traffic jam. I mean, I can't tell you how many traffic jams I got stuck in, you know, which is a reflection of the amount of activities that were being held, and they were distributed throughout the country, and even in the villages and little hamlets. Everybody was doing their thing and celebrating and so forth. So this celebration was probably equivalent or better for me than March 13th, 1981. I mean, they really outdid themselves. They did, you know? Yeah. I think you have an audio.
As we move but I bring to find solution for we problem. Oh, Father, I prepare the minister to see eye to eye with each other. Oh, Father, I pray for progress. I pray for stability. I pray for happiness.
Yes. All right. Host of Love in the Country. This is Gem FM. I'm your host, the Sheriff, yours truly, John Kelly. And this morning, I'm in studio with Delbert Baptiste and Mr. Unison Joseph of the Greater Association Toronto. And we're talking about our independence celebration right here. You're looking at it and putting it apart and see what it is about Grenada that make us stand out And just to talk about the celebration itself, and Dilbert was giving us a little synopsis as to what took place in Grenada. He was in Grenada on the ground. So back to you, Dilbert.
Well, one of the things that you have to certainly judge these events by is the props that the Grenada government was getting from other regional governments and other organizations who have been involved in executing large events. And you know, I have friends, as you know, throughout the Caribbean, and have been always in contact with them, and people paid. You know, I did not realize that so many people, our fellow brothers and sisters in the Caribbean, was paying attention to our independence, and they did, and they're like, one of my Jamaican brothers tell me, "What? You small island people, bad boy," you know, and you know, in Jamaica, you know, he said, "Wow," he said, "I didn't expect that," you know, because he always called me small island boy, you know. He said, "I'm going to change that name for you now. I have to change that name," you know. But yeah, that's the kind of reaction that I got from my friends that I spoke to with people on the ground, and friends across the globe. And I'm not saying that we don't have a ways to go, but in terms of the execution of the celebration, this was this has to go down it has to go down
the history books. You have to go in the history.
Yeah, it has to go down in the history books, you know, and they just really executed brilliantly. And like I said, it's the same 5 people on Facebook complaining.
Right.
But that's really because of I don't know. I mean, it's the vibe that they're getting from the current opposition leader, and his thing is solely based on that he's envious that he was not prime minister during that period. That's all it is. No, that's clearly what it is, because he hasn't said anything, you know. And you would think that by now, that Dr. Mitchell would have learned to be an elder statesman, but it's just not with him, you know. And so he has that 5 people on Facebook now, down from 12, just posting nonsense every day, while in Grenada, every day people are putting their shoulders to the wheel to try to improve their lives and the lives of their children. And listen, we're still going to make mistakes. The government is still going to make mistakes. But this one, they shine. Yeah, this was A+.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, from my viewing from a long distance, I can see that a lot of people in Grenada was really, really taken up into that whole atmosphere of celebration. You even people, I mean, I think people look at it not even as a party celebration, but as a country celebration. People from every strata of greater community was celebrating. I mean, I didn't think people look at it as the majority of people never look at it as an NMP or NDC celebration. They said as a greater.
Oh, no, absolutely.
And they was out there celebrating. They was out there doing their part. You know, I am appalled when I hear like a criticism of what they spend all this money for to do this thing, and you bring in a Chinese man to do it, and you know all this like nonsense you hear, you know. And I'm thinking like, what's wrong with my people? You know what I mean? And I kind of like refuse to even engage in some conversation, negative conversation surrounding that event, because to me, this is the best celebration Grenada ever had.
Yes.
In the entirety.
And whatever money, I don't know what the final budget was or will become, because sometimes, you know, in these events, there's always some bills coming in late.
Right.
Whatever money was spent on this
was well spent.
What every dime.
Yes.
Because the amount of people, Grenadians, that were in Grenada visiting, and not just by themselves, but with their family,
Yes.
with friends that they would have made from other countries, you know. I ran into two buddies of mine in my graduating class who were there, who brought somebody back all the way from Uganda, one of his real good buddies that he lives in London, that they live in London together. And you know, he had always heard about Grenada, and he took the opportunity to come to Grenada. So you had quite a lot of that. And I think when the numbers are crunched, we're going to find out that the just in terms of the promotion, the favorable reviews that the events was able to garner in itself, that would have done a lot to help advance our tourism. So we have to build on everything. We can't just look at it in isolation. The job is not complete, but no, this was productive all around. That's my feeling. That's what I saw.
Yeah. So I am. Oh, Pablo, good morning. Welcome.
Hello, Brother John. Hello, Brother John. And Moso, hello, Mr. Batiste.
How are you doing? How are you doing?
I am good. A pity. Brother John caught me unawares. He didn't alert me about that, and he just sent me a message a while ago. You know, I was more considering my 3 o'clock this afternoon session, so I'm not prepared to come online.
Okay,
you know,
okay.
to come on camera right now.
Last week,
yeah, but in any event, when I saw what he said, he was you know, talking about and realizing that you're there, you know, I had to I had to put in an appearance, man. How come you didn't get Hudson to come on? Hudson should have.
No, I sent Hudson the invite that he should be on probably momentarily.
You know, it's funny that you said that, because I was having a conversation. By the way, Pablo, I was trying to get in on the program last week, but I was having too much fun in Grenada. I was listening. I tried to. I said, no, I'm not gonna get. My last few days in Grenada. But I was having a conversation with my old high school teacher, DeRiggs, and we were talking about how do we, you know, the whole question of this year as we move forward, the conversation, because now the celebrations has sort of is over. We need to have the conversation about the way forward and how we do things and how we face long-time challenges and those that have not even surfaced yet. And one of the things that came up, that you brought up, Hudson's name, was that we talked about having a series of, I don't know whether you want to call them panel discussions or whatever, throughout the island, with people like DeRiggs, with people like Hudson and other people who are steeped in our history and understand our culture and understand how culture changes and how it sort of it repositions itself in our lives. And I want to see that happening in Grenada, because I think that's in some way is the missing link. We don't have deep enough conversation, because even when I get together with friends who I expect to have that conversation from, quickly it does kind of go down the wrong track that I'm not interested in.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
I'm there for deep policy debate, to agree, disagree, learn, and then I can't handle the rum.
We really need a refocusing, a reconditioning, you know, because we've been in that domain of trivia for so long. Yeah, that it's become ingrained, it's become entrenched in our being.
Yeah,
you know, and people that you expect to be willing to embrace that kind of elevated conversation,
you
know, and make a serious contribution. I usually, as you say, you get started there, but usually, you know, in no time at all, it just goes a different way, and it's not the sustainability. The sustainability ain't there at all. It's like people don't have that appetite for that.
Yes, exactly.
And they say, you are what you eat. You are essentially what you ingest. Whether it's through the stomach or through the mind, through the brain. And when what you take in is more trivial than things of serious content, and so then you become a trivialized person.
For
and
example,
it happens to you without you realizing it.
Okay.
And that is part of what we're experiencing with our young people now, because they take in so much of this music with this gun culture and this so on, that it become natural to them that they have to be a gunman, they have to be that kind of thing. And I take serious umbrage with those who want to behave as though the music that young people listen to is irrelevant. That it doesn't impact on your mindset, on your thinking.
Of course it does.
It's just a song.
Of course it does. Why did Peter Tosh and the Liberation reggae music have such an impact on us? It did.
You understand?
Yes.
During our dispensation, the kind of music, the reggae music, you had the calypso music, you had the Black Stallion, and you had the Valentino, and the mindset and the thinking and so our perception and our life value and everything was different.
Listen, I gave some kids a ride coming up from Happy Hills School. I think they were going into Concord. 2 was going in Concord, 1 was going in Grand Roy. And I had I didn't have the radio on in the car because I have a problem with radio stations in Grenada. They don't.
Yeah.
Okay. So I actually had my phone and I was listening to NPR.
Right.
So these kids, at that age, if I get in somebody's car, I just get the ride and I'm staying quiet. The kid, one of the young men say, "Sorry, he doesn't listen to music."
You understand? You understand?
And I know exactly where he's going. I say, I listen to music, but I say, trust me, if I put on the music I listen to, you're going to get out and walk. Okay? I say, but I'm listening to this program there. I say, I don't know how far you're going, but you can chime in and listen. And if you don't understand anything, I'll be happy to explain it to you. And he said nothing else after. But the last one I dropped him off in Grand Roy. And he said, so I didn't really understand what they were talking about, but it sounds serious and important. And I said it is. And I gave him my number. I left my number with him. And I said, this is things that I'm interested in. I don't know what you're doing in school, but, I'm happy to share any experience that I have with you. So we're not going to reach everyone. But remember,
no, you're not going to reach everyone.
Okay,
no.
Everyone we reach, they have their own little circle of influence.
Right.
And they're going to influence others. So we can't just sit and believe that this is going to be a wholesale thing where
no, it don't work like that.
It's one by one by one by one. We got to reach them all. But I'm afraid that you Pablo, that we are losing some generation of young people, and no country can't really develop itself if it's not developing its human resources.
I want to say something, because I know we here on the Comfort Zone at one point had discussion of that's just Pablo's show, the Comfort Zone. We had several discussions about the way forward for Grenada. Pablo even had a discussion. I think you was involved. Hudson George was involved. Dennis Charles have to walk off the show. Pablo wanted to talk about specifically the way forward for Grenada. I think Dennis was going back into what the Revolution did, and even in most recent time, in our celebration time, he interviewed a woman in market about her husband and the struggles and what she went through under Moise, and he was upset at Moise and the dollar. But bigger than that, I want us to probably in the future, Pablo, we pull some resources, resourceful people again together. And if we could have a discussion surrounding the development and the real transformation of Grenada over the next 50 years, and how we can put this collective mindset together, make it a presentation paper, yeah, to the government as part of our way forward for Grenada. So if it means that we do it off Zoom or on Zoom, Zoom, but not public, but we do it together and make a presentation to the government of Grenada. Because sometimes we talk and we don't really get the paper in the hands of the people who really want to make a change. And I think government, for what it's worth, depend on a lot of its citizens at home and abroad to seriously give presentation papers as what they see as the way forward and how that could be done. Because sometimes we go to parliament and the government presents something and that's it. But how many people in NGOs together put policy papers together and say, hey, this is what we see need to be done for the furtherance of the government and the people of our island, right? And I think we need to do more of that instead of just, we have all these people, we interview people here, interview people there, but no policy have been drafted, and handed over to government for actual consideration, in lower house, the upper house, and stuff like that. So I think that's to effect change. I think that's something we have to get going. I think we have enough intelligent Grenadians in the diaspora and in Grenada. We do a lot of work for multinational corporations. We work for, and we make policies and we draft plans and stuff for governments and for organizations. So I think we could do that. We have the people, we have the doctors, we have all the master's degree, everybody. We have them. We have Grenadians that been an issue.
Yeah.
Who have draft policy papers for
you present different blue papers or white papers, whatever they call it, on whether it's on agriculture, on housing, on tourism, and whatnot, and then share it with the authorities.
We have Unison Joseph here. I mean, he has done tremendous amount of work with the disaster, and all this stuff like that. You there, but you've been in the housing business and stuff like that. You've been around in the financial institution. So all these little things, and Pablo have been working with the NGOs and doing all this stuff before. So I see no needlessness that we can't do anything to present, even from say, hey, this is Gem FM radio presentation of great minds, have you to put this thing together and here's what we think should be done going forward. And we hope that you consider it. I mean, there's nothing hard about it, but we can't depend on government to do everything. I think going forward, we have to have some real concern. And pull Lysandra Ferguson, the Claudette Peets, pull those people together. They've been doing a lot of work before.
Yeah.
And there's such of intellectual property when it comes to our Grenadian people.
I was at a building in Grenada, right? And I looked up, 2-story building, and they had a main concrete beam running through the building. I had to measure it because I didn't want to estimate it. I didn't have a tape measure, so I made sure I went back, got a tape measure, and went. The beam was 26 inches thick, all the way around, 2-story building. So I'm talking to somebody and I'm saying, "Oh my God, this is crazy! And the beam ran through the building, and at different intervals, it has columns, supporting walls, but it's mainly 4-inch concrete walls plastered. Okay. And then towards the end of the building, that 26-inch beam is sitting over an opening, which is a glass door. So it's really not sitting on anything. All right. And in Engineering 101, Construction 101, they tell you must transfer the weight from on top directly down to the ground, right? So this beam is sitting there. And the guy is well-respected contractor. And I'm telling him, I say, my brother, this is crazy. And then he's looking at me like, well, you're the crazy one, because we've been doing it like this for 100 years. So yesterday I was downtown Jersey City, And there's this, I don't know, maybe 20-story building going up. And I decided to take some pictures. This is 20 stories up plus. And the columns, every column sat on top of each other. And the columns were no bigger than 12 inches, okay? And the flooring is 5 inches of precast concrete, not the 12 inches concrete that they cast in Grenada. And I sent it to him with some explanation. And what I have to say is I appreciated his response. He said, because I have never seen anything like this. And he said, now I want to rethink how I build. So I hope you don't mind if I have issues that I reach out to you. I said, anytime, my brother, please reach out to me. I'll help in any way possible. Because I say you would cut your material costs by probably 30% because we're just not doing it the right way, you know? So these are the kind of things I want to see us have conversations about, you know. I've long been a proponent of wood in Grenada. So I think we're building too many concrete houses. It's contributing to a climate change. It's contributing to all this stuff. In Grenada, I don't remember growing up experiencing that level of humidity, you know. When I go to Grenada the first week, I can't function. My body has to kind of wind itself around, and then I start getting kind of used to it. But the humidity is so heavy, and that's a big part of the kind of buildings that we are building, the kind of roads that we are building. How are we building roads? Are we building them for roads that's going to be with us 50 years down the road? Or are we just building it for the next election cycle? These are the kind of conversation I want to be having.
All right. So I know Pablo have to go get ready for a show for 2:00. Pablo, anything you want to do, say before you go in terms of this celebration, the 50th anniversary from your bird's eye view or your eagle eye view?
Well, actually, I was listening to you guys there, and you know, you guys you all more or less covered all the essentials, you know, because it was heartening to see, as Delbert was saying, so many people returning home for that celebration. And not just bona fide Grenadians, but they were able to bring other visitors with them. I saw people who hadn't come home in years coming home. And you know, I know everyone, generally speaking, people have been focused on that drone presentation. But my telling moment at the celebrations was when the anthem was sung. Yes, my telling moment is when the anthem was sung. Because typically, I mean, I've witnessed independence celebration before, and you would hear the police band play, and you would hear a scattering of voices in and between, you know, singing the anthem. On this occasion, it was the entire national stage.
Yes.
I mean, they more or less covered the police band. You know, they more or less covered the police band. The fact that I'm experiencing young people saying to me that, Pablo, I've never been into this. We've had independence celebration, and I've never really been into this independence celebration. But this time around, I had a different feeling, and I'm telling you the words that young people, very much younger people than myself, you know, who's speaking about having been moved to tears.
Yes.
You know, on the occasion and so. And the celebration and everything that went with it, it fully encompassed the theme itself. One people, one journey, one future. And as you all was saying early on, it surpassed, it went across political lines, social lines, and all sorts of things.
Yeah.
And to see it brought together, you know, and the way it was encapsulated by regional newspapers and so.
Yes,
Referring to it, like for example, one regional publication said, watching online, I was at one point almost moved to tears, not just by the combination of creative elements, but by the fact that a key national event was being celebrated and commemorated in such a pride-inspiring manner.
Yeah.
And this is coming from a publication from out of the country.
Yeah.
That same publication said, Grenada lights the way with iconic drone display.
Yes, I saw that one. I saw that one.
Yeah, and you know, and they went on to speak about how, you know, this the kind of feeling, you know, the kind of sentiments that were being expressed by so many people. And the one that touched me too is from a local publication where in the, I think it was in the editorial, they were referencing a journalist who is known to not support this administration.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
I saw that one.
Yes. and they said the journalist, when the journalist's words, they quoted the journalist now, the journalist said, "We accused MDC of promising pie in the sky. Well, they have delivered pie in the sky. It is well with my soul."
Yes,
absolutely great Grenadian moment.
I saw that.
Absolutely great Grenadian moment amidst the most moving scenes. If you weren't proud last night, you don't have blood running through your veins. So when you're detractor, yeah, one of your main detractors could have that kind of appreciation of something that you've done, you know that you done it right.
Yeah.
You know that you have made an impact, because this is not someone that supports you. This is not one of the people that's in your corner. That's not one of the people who has your back, as the saying goes.
Yes.
That's one of your detractors.
Yeah.
That's somebody who is out there looking for every nook and cranny, for every little flaw or whatever to publicize it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the verdict on the celebration is, we accuse the NDC of promising pie in the sky. Well, they have delivered pie in the sky.
Yes. I saw that one from my old comrade.
Yeah. And to say, absolutely great Grenadian moment amidst the most amazing scenes. If you weren't proud last night, you don't have blood running through your veins. You know, so and the manner in which people went out and supported all of the events, granted that yes, the majority of the events were free and so, but even those where you had to pay for, and those that you had to pay for, you had to pay. I mean, because it was not, you know, just a couple of dollars.
Yeah.
But people supported it because people appreciated, you know, that this was something momentous, and that they were being part of something much bigger than ourselves.
You know, Pablo, I found it rather strange, but I saw a post by one leading NNP activist, whatever you want to call her, and where she was complaining that about the gala and how many galas the Prime Minister has had over, but yet still, and you know, sometimes people when you have no real purpose, you end up defeating your own argument. She conceded that the purpose of the gala, the whole question of the galas and having to rebuild the old Governor General house is a noble thing. But she mad that they have in the gala. So somebody typed in that I think you just I forget how the person put it, but in essence she was saying, I think you're just jealous because my prime minister does look too good at those galas, so you don't. you know how our people are is already. Listen, that's one thing about us, when we love our PM, we love our PM. There's no, the people who love Gary, they love Gary. The people who love Bishop,
the people who love serious.
When we love our prime minister, we love our prime minister.
Listen, everybody in Grenada, right? Everybody in Grenada has their favorite prime minister, yes?
Oh, yes.
You don't take nothing from Keith. Keith have a loving
Of
father.
course.
But let me tell you something. There are people who if they are going Carrigo on a liquor boat who want to come, you have now a big crowd and the beach to get in first. Yes? Because they love the prime minister. They love the former prime minister. They love him.
But he's losing that magic.
Well,
definitely.
Whatever definitely. Like Uncle Gary still have a following.
Yeah.
And he paused. You hold up.
But you see the difference with Gary and Keith is that in essence, the Gary people feel shortchanged because Gary they feel get enough time to prove whatever. Okay.
Yes.
Keith had more than enough. I went to one of his stronghold in Grenville. Diehard buddy of mine say, yeah, listen, you got to come out and have a lambi water with me, and we go there, and it's NNP bad. So when I get there, he say, listen to me, he tell them, he said, this is an NDC man, okay? I say, I'm an independent. He said, don't try that. When you're in America, when you're in America, you could run that independent thing.
Let me clarify that. Let me clarify that Delbot thing. Delbot is not.
Yeah, but no.
Delbot is a recovering NDC.
No, but here's what he told me, which now got my interest. He said this is an NNP camp, but there's two camps in here. We have the Peter camp, and we have the
Doc camp.
The Doc camp. And he said right now the Peter camp is running 70%. Doc is thing. And one of the guys there, I'd met him before because I've been there before, and this is a man that 3 years ago would have picked up Petey Martinique and moved it to Carriacou if Doc asked him to do it. And now his thing is he's got to go. He's got to go. And these guys have following. There's even another lady in my own village who carried Chantemelle, who ensures that the vote in Chantemelle goes to Doc.
Right.
And she told me, yeah, I'm done with him.
By the way, we have one of our sisters and friend here, Margaret Francis. Welcome, Margaret. Welcome.
Hi, guys.
Sorry to pull you away from your laundry morning and your husband morning. I know that's your morning.
Hey, I have to do laundry too, I have to do laundry too.
But you always say, but she says specifically Saturday morning will be my busy morning. I'm so happy you could make it here this morning because we have not, for a while, I've been going through some little challenges, health-wise and other things, and then busy last 2 weeks because I was helping my friend. She went to Grenada for the celebration, so I was in the kitchen. I was cooking and preparing, trying to maintain her taste of food, in the kitchen while she was away. And last week was my last day in the kitchen, and I had to do Pablo's show. And I had a rush kind of late because I get caught up with time, and the people keep flowing into the kitchen. They want the oil on, some even accuse me of not giving me the owner's portion. We
will complain.
So I had to make sure that Mr. Eunice, when he comes, he was there, he'll get the other portion, not John Kelly's portion. But having said that, I'm happy to have Margaret here with us this morning. Margaret, go ahead and just introduce yourself and give us a little synopsis too about your views on the celebration in Grenada, as you know, Delbert was there, you know, as they forming the recovering NDC and giving us his verdict on it. Pablo is here, and then Mr. Unison Joseph, who is the president of the Grenada Association in Toronto and the disaster preparedness also in Toronto. So Margaret, former journalist, probably give me a journalist viewpoint and give me your own personal view as what your thoughts are on this thing. And I want to hold a thought there, but all of us here. There's a gentleman in Grenada who, Jerry Roman. I have a thought, and I thought that he was left out and should have been being around 1974, being the announcer on the day of the celebration, the actual independence. And I thought that he was not featured anything Grenada and he featured as a journalist. I need you guys' thoughts on that. Margaret, go ahead.
So hi, I'm Margaret Francis. As John said, worked in the media previously, don't do that right now. And I'm in the US and are in healthcare. And from time to time, I join these guys here, whenever I can. In terms of the celebration, I think I agree with everything that you guys said. I was there, I got in there the end of January, so on the 31st. I was there for just like a week and I left like the day after on the 8th. And to me, I think everything that I attended was great. I mean, there are a number of things that for me that, I always nitpick on. The timing, show started on time. And they were well presented and done. To me too, I mean, I don't know what Delbert thinks since he was there. I got in there and I thought there was kind of like a slow build. So it's kind of like when I got there, I thought, it was like, people was like feeling it, but not like so feeling it. But like as everything came, it kind of like just build and people were just getting into it. So that by the time you got there on the 7th, and you were in the park, there was like this vibe. Yes. And the thing is, so my mom decided that she was going to be leaving home at 8. She kept saying to me, you don't hear what they're saying, you got to get to the park early because you want to do so. So she and her neighbor left home at 8:30, right?
Wow.
Yes, because she was, and I mean, my mom is not coming, we're right, literally right there in Lavery, right? So they left home at 8:30 and they got down to the park, and Patricia, that's my mom's friend, called me up and said, oh, you know what? And I got a park. I got the same park that I got the night of the show because she got park stadium parking. So she was excited about that. And mommy said, when I spoke to them at that time, there was around, just a little after 9ish, that there were a good deal of people there. They were walking around looking at the exhibits and stuff that were there and stuff and everything else. I got down to the park about 11:30 and there was a pretty decent crowd there, but I don't know what happened between, I would say 2 and 3:30. I mean, 1 minute there was space. Yes. Next minute, there was no space. I mean, in that period between that 2 and like 3:30, I mean, all of a sudden, every area that was empty was filled. Because at one point I was thinking, whoa, I wonder if, how many people are going to show up. I mean, kind of like stuff. But in that hour and a half there, I mean, it just filled the space. And it was just this vibe because, they were like playing music and stuff before the program got started and things. And like there was some things when they played them, everybody in the stadium was just singing. Like when they played like Grenada May God Bless You, oh yeah, you should have heard that whole stadium. Everybody was just singing. And it just like created a vibe. I think one of the other things that really hit me too in there is like when the Governor General came in and they played the national anthem, you had like this whole stadium just singing that anthem. I mean, and it just, there was just that feeling, that feeling. It's indescribable unless you were there to actually really experience it, because there was just this vibe that was just going on there. So, and I think too, another thing that was mind blowing to a lot of people was the drone show. Tell us about that. Tell us about
I mean, what is your favorite presentation on the drone night? I do ask you about that too. I'll come on about that. But Maggie, tell us about your favorite. I know Pablo.
It's hard to say. It's really, really hard to say because it's really hard to pick one moment to say, well, like this was, because it was really, really mind-blowing. I mean, it was literally mind-blowing. It's difficult to pick one part to say, like, this was thing. I mean, but you could also sense there were some things that really got the crowd going. And every single mention of Kirani, I think he just took it. Yes.
That was my favorite.
Yeah, mine too.
I
know Pablo will echo the sentiments. I think Kirani was the highlight.
Correct. That was a unifying. I mean, it really didn't matter. And in every which way, even when his name was mentioned, other than in the drone show, you got that groundswell of people that literally, it just transcended and superseded politics and people and all of that stuff. He really is a unifier or de-unifier that I would say thing. But but to be honest, I mean, I don't think that any of us here can seriously capture, if you weren't there, can really capture it.
Don't make me feel bad, no, Margaret.
No, I'm not making you feel bad. I'm just saying, yeah. It's not intentional, but it's just you have to be there because you just had to be there. I mean, I don't know what to say, but you just had to be there.
Oh yeah. I think for me with the drone, it was the display of the faces. That one really.
Yeah.
That was a work too.
Yeah, that was.
I love the boat sailing Kirani boat and the nutmeg. That was particular. I think
one interesting thing about Kirani is that outside of his amazing, because this guy's been at the top in his discipline for a while now. Generally, distance runners do not last that long at that level in the game. I mean, think of the great ones: Alberto Antorena, what's his name out of Jamaica?
Michael Johnson was a great longest 400 and 200.
The British guy, the first one to break the mile. All these guys and them had a 6-8 year cycle. But it's not only that he's such a great athlete, is that how he carries himself. He's a real role model for young people in Grenada. And I hate to use the word, whether or not and any government, as a matter of fact, or organization can use him to carry a more positive message, it would help because people worship the ground that he walks on. And listen, it's an amazing accomplishment for a person from a country that size, with all the limitations we have, to be a gold medalist at the Olympics. I mean, I don't know if any other country that size have done that, so the brother deserves all the praises and all the, support that he gets from the Grenadian people.
Let me ask.
And the Republic of Guam do not play around with him, So they will defend this young man to the hill, So
let me ask Margaret another question. Margaret, I know you talk about your mom and stuff like that. The seniors in Grenada who have lived through the various governments and have witnessed a lot of ups and downs in terms of parties and celebration in particular. What is your view on the older people participating in that event, going to make sure to get the seat to witness for the 50th anniversary, something that they knew was taking place. They heard the independence speeches from Gary and so on, and today, and 50 years later, they want to be part of that celebration. What was the vibe like with the older generation?
I don't know. It's not. I mean, my mom reminded me, because I didn't even remember, because remember there was no electricity. We lived in Richmond Hill, and so with a perfect view of St. George's.
Right.
And mommy reminded me that there was no light and that we were looking, we were looking at the fort from up there that night. So she remembered that. And then, well, I think, the thing with my mom too is that initially she was saying, I'm not going to the park. Right. And then because, she's 80 something and she was like, nah, not going to the park. But then I think, again, it was kind of like that vibe, kind of like when she heard like her neighbors like going and stuff and everything else. And all of a sudden she kind of like got into it because she was up here with me at that point and literally went back down, decided, I said, I know how you would feel if you weren't there. And so she decided that she would go back down for it and then come back up. So she did that. But I know that in the one of the things they did acknowledge the seniors among us because like in the beginning of the program, you had that thing where they had like the introduction of all these people that were like 90 and above and 100 and above and stuff and that kind of stuff. So I thought that was good. I thought though that maybe some arrangements could have been made, and those are kind of like, little nitpicky things, probably to create a section for seniors, sort of, in the park, for that, so at least they could have come in and have a place to go, as opposed to have to struggle with the remainder of the crowd to sort of like get in, kind of stuff. So that I would think of it. I don't blame them necessarily. I think that's a societal thing where we don't place much value on seniors. Yeah. Sad to say, but it's true.
It is, yeah.
So so that if I had to think anything, that was that. And just to come back to the question that you had asked about Jerry, I think that's a very very valid point, that Jerry should have been included. His knowledge and everything else would have been an added thing to the whole celebration because it brings, the context, the feeling that was there. And as everybody knows, Jerry was a Gary boy through and through.
Yeah.
For anybody who lived through that period and who remember WIBS.
Yeah.
And then the subsequent Radio Grenada and Jerry's role and GBU and Jerry's role at GBU as well. Just for it was the Grenada Broadcasting Unit at that point under Gary and basically would broadcast all Gary's propaganda, if you remember that as well. So that's just my thought on that as far as Jerry is concerned.
I think he should be recognized at that somewhere in the celebration as a journalist who was there and brought
yeah, I seriously hope they do though. I seriously hope they do because Jerry is not just that. Jerry goes back to the WIBS days for people who would remember Windward Island Broadcasting Service, who are old enough. If there are not very many people around, but certainly there are people who are there, and yes, definitely.
I saw Wendell do a piece on him, a short piece.
Yes.
Much, and I think that a conversation with Pablo JMFM may have to recognize him, and probably Pablo will be obliged to.
Yeah, whatever you want to think about this guy politically or not, he was a major
in the media
journalistic figure for a few decades in Grenada,
yeah,
and would have paved, and he had a brilliant radio voice too.
Very much.
Yeah.
It's people like him that I remember meeting him when we did a sort of antique program in Grenada with Miss Forrester. She's in Forrester in Grenville, and we had to go and sing in the radio station. You had to qualify to go down there and stuff like that. And we went down there, and he was so much into getting us set up for studio and everything like that. And I remember that about him. But listening to the radio and stuff like that, listening to his voice and stuff like that, the brother did well. He did well. Just sorry that he had to really get himself into that corner kind of thing. I would give him much attention. See, everybody come with a radio station here and there, but the pioneer, the person who led the field, so to speak, for media in Grenada is not getting that kind of a accolade, that attention.
But that's not only happening to him. I saw a post by Lou Smith where he spoke about the same thing. Think about the contribution. Lou Smith, arguably one of the great radio voices the region has ever produced. And there is some evidence, for whatever reason, I don't know where he's kind of been shunned by the Media Workers Association in Grenada, you know.
Yeah.
I can't even wrap that around my head. That somebody like that who had been at the top of his game for so long and would have mentored so many people, you know. So these are things that we have to grow from these things, right? This is what we're talking about, growth. You know, how do we don't have to always like somebody, they don't have to be our friend.
The work have to be speaking.
They work. Let's admire the contribution that they made, you know.
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah,
that's correct. You know, I was thinking, I mean, I know, you know, you could think things, I mean, maybe at some point it will happen. I mean, and I know that it may be difficult, but you know, like actors here, like the Screen Actors Guild and these actors organizations here, they have like a fund that they do, you know, for actors who are retired and stuff and don't have any income and employment again. I mean, I know it's probably wishful thinking considering the economics of Grenada and stuff, but I mean, sometimes no matter how small something is, it could make a difference to a person's life.
Yeah.
You know, and
if they organize, they could have events, fundraising events to help them, you know.
Yeah,
things that I personally like to support.
And most recently, after the interview, he had a fire at his house, right?
Yes.
I mean, like, you can't just go without noticing that from one sort of a glorious interview, by the way, and then next 2 days, 3 days later, he heard that his house, you know. I'm thinking like, why, you know?
The other really ironic thing that I found mighty strange was that Mr. George, the designer of our flag, died on
the same day.
Yes.
You know, that one, you know, kind of, you know.
I mean, nature does have a design on how things would go,
Yeah.
Nature's way.
And I think he was also born on the 7th, you know. It wasn't February. Whatever month he was born in, it was also on the 7th, you know.
Wow. Yeah. It's you know, one of the things I think we have to start doing is paying homage to our icons, our historians.
Well, we could start that by renaming our schools after them.
Yes. We are
the streets.
I mean, go ahead, Unison.
I said the streets also.
Yeah.
But while Delbert and Miss Francis was basking in being on the ground in Grenada, eating all the oil dung and smelling, we in Toronto didn't do too much of a shabby job. We had the lighting of the iconic Niagara Falls.
I saw that.
I saw that.
And that was something that, you know, something that transcends we Grenadian politically, religiously, is our national pride. And I don't think that we take, you know, homage in that. A lot of people look at us from outside for leadership, whether it is in our cultural presentation or religious, whatever it is. Grenada have that sense of leading rule. You know, we don't lag behind. We set the pace. Right. So when disasters, for instance, struck the Caribbean in St. Vincent, when you have the volcano, Grenada played a leading role in mobilizing assistance. We had Mr. McIntyre being on the ground in St. Vincent and coordinating.
We have a long history of doing that, though. We have a long history of doing that, you know.
Very long history. I mean, I met Mr. Jules, Dudicus Jules from St. Lucia there. And he was speaking about the leading role Grenada plays.
That's one of my old bosses, man.
That's yeah. So I don't think we fight among ourselves so much that we don't embrace each other. But the rest of the world is embracing us while we fight. And we see the divide, whether it is politically, religiously, we don't seem to have that unique way. And you're seeing that transcends in things on the ground.
John, I don't know if you remember, it's funny how you bring up St. Vincent. When St. Vincent was struck by both hurricane and Soufriere almost within months of each other, 79 and 80.
Yeah.
Right before that, a group of guys led by a former student of Shaper who was, I think he was the first lieutenant in the army, took the Coast Guard and went to St. Vincent. That time we just got AK-47s, okay? The men went down to St. Vincent. Somebody had said Gary's in St. Vincent. The man, without no permission or consulting the higher ups, took his squad of men and they went down to St. Vincent with some brand new AK-47. The entire police force in St. Vincent run. Okay. Because they had never seen guns of that type. And the Prime Minister of St. Vincent was furious. Maurice had to apologize and what have you. But within weeks of that happening, a group of us led a youth brigade to St. Vincent to help them recover from the eruption, the Hurricane David. Okay, and I was part of that, and we went there. We were cleaning up houses, churches, doing everything, and the people were so welcoming and so grateful. It was about, I don't know, it was about 15 or 16 of us that went down there, and and so Grenada and St. Vincent has long history together.
I want to there's a lady who often be on our show here from the United States. She was invited to Grenada for the independence celebration. I did not go. Alban, Lime Radio in England, a team of people from around the world who listens, Grenadians around the world who listens to his radio station in England. And he called me to accompany him to be part of that thing, but I couldn't make it. However, that lady, she's a co-host on one of our shows in the morning, and she co-hosts with me on a Tuesday night. She went to Grenada. That's the best country in the world. I wanted her to come on. I sent her an invite for her to come on this morning to talk about her experience in Grenada. She said, John, I'm going back again. Yeah. She didn't talk, she hit all up. She didn't talk about the dumpling or the pigtail thing. The breadfruit was so good. You know what I mean? She wanted more, but she was filled. One plate was full. I mean, she had enough, and she spoke of the experience with the people and stuff like that. She felt like she belonged to Grenada. Yeah. Like a foreigner. Because people just genuinely. Yeah, we do have that effect. We do have that effect. When she came out, like there was a point where she realized that she wanted her money. And she make mention of that to somebody who was taking the bus or ride. The person paid for her taxi. She was saying like, really, like when she could pay the taxi man, said, the guy who paid for you on him already. And she said that she never felt like that accommodated. She went to the hotel and people thought she was living in that hotel, but her friend was there. She had access to the beach, she was having a good time in Grenada. And talking about going back again for a second time. She said, no, I could leave there. It's so cool. The people are so friendly, and I think that's something that everybody says about Grenada. Right? The atmosphere is so tranquil. Like people just love being in Grenada, and I think that I really wanted to come and explain to us how she felt.
I can relate to that. I met a South African lady one time. She's actually a professor at King's College in London on a flight from New York to London. And when she found out I was from Grenada, we spoke about Grenadian ginger for the entire flight. She had been to Grenada. First, she had a Grenadian friend in London who gave her Grenadian ginger, and then she had the opportunity to go to Grenada. So she had all the ginger she wanted. Wow. And she said, for that alone, I can live in Grenada. She said, so.
Yeah, just to get back on that. Yesterday, I went to for Black History Month, we had 25 countries represented at Shades of Black. And you had to bring a dish and cultural wear and stuff from your country. And yesterday we had from the Congo, Chad, Kenya, or Ghana, all that. And they came over to the Grenadian booth and was giving me a lesson on Grenada. And then they asked, did you bring the oil up? A lady from Kenya. Did you bring the oil up? I said, yes, that's what we... And the Trinidadians, we had a little wrong bowl. It's supposed to have a taste. Yeah. And the Trinidadians bring a full container. And they said, we don't want no taste. We want to wash it. So I think we need to have that repetition.
Call it, they come for belly full.
They come for belly. I don't know, we had to play our independence songs, going up, and the whole
Yeah.
It was 100 and something people came together and singing the song and dancing. But that's why I said Grenadians, we have a unique way about us. Wherever we go.
That song is something I've been wanting to get to, but he ain't giving me a chance to say nothing.
Go ahead, Pablo.
No, Pablo, you enjoying this every day. We only get
yeah.
But first, before I get to this song, because you know, a couple of times comments were made there about, you know, transcending political lines and transcending politics. And you know what really epitomized that in that event was the narrative about the journey to 50, relating to the different leaders and the contribution. And I know that there are some people, I've seen individuals who have written, oh, or you giving Gary a pass, and Gary was this dictator, and Gary was what, and all you don't say nothing about Gary and the Mongoose gang, and so. But that was not, there are times, there's going to be a time when we are going to discuss all of those issues. Yes, but that was a moment when the focus was on what each of those leaders would have contributed to the development, to our development initiative, to that journey that brought us to this 50 as a nation. And I think, you know, that was another outstanding moment for me. That the flaws, whatever the flaws and so, and I think that was captured in a short article commending the government about it, you know, commending the government about the successful events. And so that, yes, that we were able, that in spite of whatever the flaws may have been from either leader, the focus was not on their flaws, but on what they would have contributed to that development agenda that brought us to that space at this point in time. And the other thing is getting to the song. The song itself, everything that you've been talking about there has been encapsulated in that song. Yes, everything has been encapsulated in that song. And I actually was asked to write the piece. Yeah, I was surprised when the Deputy Public Relations Officer of the party reached out to me and asked me to write the congratulatory piece to the government on the successful event and so on. And it ended that way. It will be remiss because I'm writing now on behalf of the PRT. It ended that way. It will be remiss of us not to mention and commend the producers of our signature theme song, Up From Here, which some contend is worthy of Grammy consideration, a suitable second national anthem. It undoubtedly invokes an exceptional and extraordinary sense of national pride and belonging in Grenadians across our generational, social, economic, and political partition. We are indeed more than just a speck on the globe, more than ice. That's the term they used in the song, but I think the correct terminology is ice, and because it's a Rasta terminology, meaning in place of red. More than ice, green and gold, more than the nutmeg and the clove, more than just 3 islands in the sun. And if we can take time to write down everything about our nation, it will most likely take more than 5 miles long. Our characteristic friendliness and the togetherness and love we stand for as we aspire, build, and advance as one people can definitely take us higher and higher, up, up, up. So we say hearty congratulations to our nation's government on a job well done. So it was just about, so as you would definitely recognize, all of those major excerpts from the song, the Ides Green and Gold, we more than just a speck on the globe. We more than the nutmeg and the clove, more than 3 islands in the sun. If we were to write down everything about the nation, it's thick, yeah, our characteristic friendliness, the togetherness and love that we stand for, our aspiration to build and advance as one people. And we definitely moving higher and higher, up, up, up.
As one people.
But
Mr.
Paul, you should also encapsulate, tell the world we are Grenadians.
Everywhere.
That's my favorite part. Tell the world we are Grenadians.
We are Grenadians. Definitely.
This was definitely a high point.
Let me pull this song up so we can.
And the other thing before you go to that, yesterday, let me see. Yeah, yesterday I spoke to a lady in St. George's, and she said, Mr. Paul, you because she ordered two pairs of stuff from me. And she said, I'll be traveling, so I will be wanting the next one. I've been wearing the other one. So I say, well, okay. She said, and I see people I say, because, I've been taking up trying to satisfy some of the returnees. And so she said, yes, I see them all around town with the thing. And I know that is your work. And just a while ago, before I came on here, I received a message from Brother John's wife to confirm that the 2 pairs that she had ordered, well, I knew she had received it already, but she finally put them on, and they both fit properly, and she's happy with it, and and she liked the quality and all of that, And Orla was giving me some yesterday, saying to me that she's sorry that she wasn't able to get hers that time, but her daughter will be coming down. So let the others know to check Pablo for quality leather products. Whether you're looking for slippers, you're looking for sandals, you're looking for belt, you're looking for handband, you're looking for some special kind of case, for a piece of tool or whatever, for your cell phone, for anything. Just check Pablo.
Check Pablo, Reblo.
Yes. And if you go on Facebook, you go to Reblo Leather Creation, and you'll see some of my work, although I must confess that my Facebook page needs some upgrading and updating at this point in time, but that will be done shortly. And I am giving a commitment that within the next 2 months or so, when you come down, you will be finding, an outlet where you should be able to go in there and maybe fit something on and say, okay, I like this one, and pay for it and walk away. So I'm working on that too, because as it stands right now, it is just orders I'm doing, just orders. And people say, so Pablo, where is the shop? And I say, yes, I have a workplace, but at the moment, there is no established outlet where you can come and pick stuff up. So we're working with orders for the moment, but I'm working towards that. Yeah. So all that was part of the independence celebration, and some people were having stuff with the colors, the national colors, and so on, being included in the leather stuff.
Let me before we play this song, I want to talk. I want to leave Margaret to talk about that, because it has been a major talking point, and by talking about talking point, somebody in Grenada using my show name, which we started from way back when, the talking point. In Grenada.
I saw that.
Margaret, can you imagine the audacity of these people?
There's no respect for copyrights in Grenada.
You took my name off my show.
Yes.
And make it theirs in Grenada. I mean, come on, you must have seen Gem FM talking about every Saturday night for the last 7 years or plus.
Yes.
Talking point has been around, and this brother took it and go and put it out as it is. However, before you came on, Margaret and Pablo, we spoke a little, and Unison, we spoke a little bit about the Prime Minister's attire on the day. Margaret, can you speak to that?
I personally had no problems with it. I'm not one of these people who subscribe to the European form of dress.
Thank you very much.
I mean, that hasn't started. That has always been my thing from since I was in school. The other thing is too that we need to. I mean, where we live, but he, I mean, if I was to look at it from just a scientific perspective, I mean, which is kind of like one of the things I tend to do, a jacket and tie is not for our environment. Let's just speak. Let's just move away from the thing. The skin is an organ, and it's an organ that's designed to protect the rest of the body. Not only that, the skin needs to breathe, needs to do all of those things. And in our neck of the woods, wearing a three-piece jacket and tie in 80-something, 90-something degrees is not a healthy thing at all. So let's take it from just that perspective, right? It's unhealthy. So the other thing is, for me, symbolically, you can't talk about being independent and yet still holding on to the remnants of massa. As Malik say, emancipate yourself from mental slavery. And part of that emancipation also means divesting yourself from the trappings of the European and the slave master. It's as simple as that. It's about developing your own. And if you want to use anybody else's style for that matter, why does it have to be European?
Exactly.
Right.
And for me, I just think, people tend to minor in major so much. I mean, with everything else going on, there's a whole big hullabaloo about the news he wore on his feet. I'm like, seriously, people? I mean,
my only hope is that he bought his sandals from Pablo.
That
one was what do you call it? Yeah, it came from the higher level.
I know Delbert has been to Ghana. I mean, I've been to Ghana, and I look at the footwear. I mean, men are like dressed to the nines and check their feet. They're wearing sandals. Come on. They're wearing sandals. Because that's what's suited to them. I've passed through. I mean, I've looked at pictures of people who live in the Middle East and how they're dressed. I mean, I've been to a couple Middle Eastern countries, and when I experience the heat and stuff that they have to deal with from time to time, I could fully understand and appreciate wearing a long flowing white gown, because I would tell you something that keeps your body cool.
Listen, this trip I had it to wear. I didn't have to. I chose to wear a suit to an event. And I came home almost naked, man. I had to pull this thing off, because
of course
it
And
as soon as I left the event, the tie went, the jacket went.
Here's the other thing, and I'm sure Pablo, as a craftsperson, could also speak to that. A lot of these suits and a lot of these things that these people buy are made from synthetic fibers.
Very much so.
Right?
Very much so.
Synthetic fibers don't breathe. They don't breathe. Look, I knit, and I know, and I remember the days, when we were thinking, I knit, and I'm telling you straight up, I do not use synthetics.
Yeah.
I use natural fibers. I'm either using real wool, real cotton, real silk, real whatever, but I don't use synthetics.
It's really
so you have a double whammy. You're wearing a 3-piece thing or 4-piece or however how much, because they're putting on all of these things, right? So that's one thing. And then in all likelihood is a cheap piece of synthetic crap.
It's petroleum.
Correct. That's what people don't realize, is that all of these things are made from petroleum.
Yeah.
Another thing that someone mentioned, apart from the attire, still reading the attire, that he couldn't tell which country Prime Minister was looking at, because the colors represent other countries. But that's our colors, you know? And I thought, well, are you kidding me? I mean,
what colors? But what were they talking about? What colors?
Yeah,
You know,
I
you know
said
the thing is,
that's
I
all
ignore all
colors.
of these things. I don't see them. What colors?
Yeah, I mean that's all color. The red, green,
What
and
the
gold.
red, green,
Right, put your
and
stripe
gold?
across. Yeah, I said that's all colors. What's your problem with it?
Yeah, but remember
You know,
that red, Pablo just touched on it, right? That whole red, green, and gold came out of the liberation movement.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, and that's the whole thing. I mean, oh, these idiots, sorry to say, you know, I'm hearing this say that, but they should realize that most, and this is why most countries from the African diaspora, right, have those colors represented in one form or another. It was a part of the liberation of the Pan-African movement. Red, gold, green, and black.
Yes.
So if, you know, you know, this is when I just get frustrated.
We
That's
have
why,
to
you know,
share the history. We have to
but
share
I'm
the
so much
history.
more off of Facebook because the level of stupidity and ignorance that I see going on there, it really doesn't make sense engaging those people. You know, I mean,
I
it
think
really
our
doesn't.
responsibility as elder statespeople, and I say that seriously.
Yeah.
Our responsibility to educate those people.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, I mean, if you look up and down
there,
the Caribbean, and down the Caribbean, all those countries have one or more of those colors represented in their flags. It's not by accident, it is there.
No. And I think we have to give that vibe out to people that it's okay. That's who we are, other people. That's who our struggles bring us to, you know, and we cannot separate, right, the skin from the blood. It's part of it, and we have to take up the mantle and educate people. And that's why I say education is liberation. Because
let me tell you something, and they can say whatever they want. That red, green, and gold shown in the park. When you sat there and you look across that sea and you saw those colors, I don't care who say what.
Yes.
Yeah, you know what? I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I hope I'm not being biased, but I don't know any other country in the Caribbean where people love their flag like Grenada, you know.
No, I mean,
I think we truly love the flag.
Yeah, no, I think most Caribbean people do.
Grenadians are serious about their flags.
No. People are serious. No, people are serious about their flags. I mean, really serious about their flags. Seriously, so very serious about their flags.
You know, Margaret, I want to say about there a little bit. Not I give you obviously there, but when we look at activities in Toronto, for example, right, where there is nationalism across the board, green flag bearers are the most prominent in any setting. You know? The Belgian there, and they had a flag hanging down on the side, like they free to pull the flag. You know, but green. But before you say, hey, green, say, hey, they had a flag in the air.
But John, look at Niagara Fall lighting.
Yes.
The night was cold. And Grenadians line up in front with the mist, the rain, line up with to take photos with the flag right across.
You know,
and Niagara Falls.
Niagara Falls is minus 15.
And hear me now, and hear me throw the cold water on that. I mean, that's all well and good, and I love all of that symbolism, but I would like to see that translated into real action.
Oh, exactly. That's what we spoke about.
Patriotism is more than waving a flag.
No. That is not cold water at all, Margaret. That is not cold water. That's exactly how do we
move from that flag raising to
how do we build from here? How do we build? How do we use that whole thing to unify and move ahead with the singular purpose?
And hence the reason why, Margaret, I don't know if it was on yet, but I made a point that we have so much wealthy people mentally, and we celebrate and we dance and we think like we just think when the carnival over, we still need a better day, right? Now the 50th is almost over. We will need a better day, a future that reflects our next generation. How we go from here? Where do we go from here? And I was suggesting that we here, and I think you participated in one of those discussions we had in the past, how to move Grenada forward. But I think we're not just discussing anymore. I think we should prepare a presentation paper and give it to the government. So we pull some minds together and have a nice discussion and create a policy paper and present to the government. I mean, like we did with a group in England, we did a presentation, we had a meeting, and we put something together and sent it to the Grenada government. We haven't gotten back on that yet, anything on that yet. We more to do with 983, right? But we have drafted that with some people, put that people together, we sent to the government of Grenada. But I'm saying that this is the kind of thing that have to be done, right?
You
know, we have to.
And let's not forget Delbot's recommendation, which came before that, about having these town hall sessions that bring certain individuals out where we can discuss.
Yes.
I mean, I generally look at things with this critical eye, and I don't know how it escaped me, and I'm not so sure that it did, but this time I paid particular attention to it, and then I went back to look at it over a period of about 3 or 4 days. We have to fix the transportation problem in Grenada.
Oh man! Oh man!
Listen to me, Pablo. I ended up by the bus terminal one day about 3:30, 3:45.
Yep.
And I saw this hundreds of people. And I left, and I was going to, I don't remember, I was going to floor one of them. So anyway, I left, but I was back in 20 minutes. And now the 100 tons into thousands. And I was like, okay, something is not right here. Are they having some event, independence event at the bus terminal?
Nope.
It was just people waiting to go home. And that went on for about 4 hours.
But you see, one of the things, and you touch on it, there's a lot of issues regarding that. One, I think the traditional way of transportation, using the main route, I think Grenada have a network. We have to start using our coastal areas. For instance, you have the trucks coming from St. Patrick in the north to the city. Don't necessarily have to be on the road. We could create a network where you have a ferry or something on the coastline taking goods and services as well as moving people.
Yeah.
And then you have the cost of the buses. I mean, bus price in Grenada, it hasn't gone up in the last maybe 15 to 20 years. And you have a guy that was paying for a bus like $99,000, right? New. Now he's paying $160,000, $170,000 for a bus. So you have to find a way either, and it goes back to maybe government subsidizing some part of the bus service, like we have in New York, we have here in Toronto. You have, so they got to be a two-pronged approach. But to move people and move the country forward, the transportation system have to be fixed.
Well, my first recommendation. Go ahead, Margaret.
No. I think what I was going to add to, I mean, beyond that, and I know Delbert talks about this a lot too, is that we have to rethink development and all of that stuff. Because I think the reason why you have that crowd of people in St. George's waiting for transportation to go home is because everything is concentrated in the south of the island. As long as you have that, you have a problem. And people here, I mean, they're rethinking cities and how they develop them, so that things are, people can walk to work and all this kind of stuff. And you need to rethink your development path as well. It's not simply fixing the transportation system. You have to rethink that.
Two more buildings in Granance and the country is going to tip right over into the sea. Okay. But my first recommendation on the transportation thing would be to phase out these 15-seater buses. We have to phase them out. You can't use these things anymore.
You know something there, but I think and probably remember we had a discussion here with Bonacode, right? A couple years ago. The question of addressing that same St. George's southern development thing was to create a deep water harbor in St. Andrews, right? And to create a center of economic activities on the northeastern side of Grenada and on the western side as well.
Well, the previous administration started that project in Sotes. It's just that they didn't get it right.
Yeah. Which one? The breakwater?
Yeah.
Don't even get me started on this problem.
No, but I'm telling you, it's just they didn't get it right. Instead, because when the breakwater was envisioned, remember there was a lot of publicity surrounding it. There were lots of interviews with the people in the community and so. And there were projections as to what it was going to bring and how it was going to create an opportunity now for the travel between there and the Grenadines, that people would not have to go all the way down to St. George's to catch the boat now, to go up to Carriacou and so on and so forth, and how it was going to impact on the rural economy and so on. And there was great prospects, but they didn't get it right. And at the end of it, what happened, it was incomplete, and it ended up damaging the whole of the Mount Rodney area and all of that.
Here's the thing. These guys put together a plan, and I'm gonna slightly disagree here with Pablo. I think they talked that game, but they never intended to do that, right?
Well, but as I said, there was all this talk about,
This thing was done to protect one of the local politicians' 3 buildings in local. No. I had access to a plan, what Pablo was talking about there. And it called for the relocation and demolishing of almost every building that we knew in that area, John, with the exception of the buildings owned by this particular person. Okay.
Wow.
Condos and what have you. And that development would not work in Sates. It was overly ambitious. So, but the plan, I remember asking somebody, so did you guys have an oceanographer look at this? Okay. Because I seen enough Discovery Channel and enough documentaries to know this would not have worked. And I remember when the job started, the project manager for that job happened to be a friend. Well, I spoke about this endlessly. Happened to be a friend of the Prime Minister and a truck company owner. That was his qualification for the project. So when the project just started, first thing where they were pulling the material from was a problem because it was creating a lot of water coming down into the River Cemetery now. And that land had been protecting the cemetery. So now when it rained heavy, it would wash away the tops of graves in River Cemetery. So I went to the job site and I'm looking around, I'm taking some pictures, and he comes up on me and he asks me, who I am. I say, no, I'm just a local boy. I grew up in the area, interested in what's going on. I want to see what's going on. And then I start to probe. And he tried to call the police for me to get me out of his job site. And I'm like, you don't know what you're doing here. You do not know what you're doing.
It was a disaster. However, let me go back to original thing, because the question of everybody going to St. George's for a job. And Bona was saying that the prospect of having everything in St. George's create a kind of shantytown, which didn't want happening greater. So they wanted to balance off the whole thing, that St. Patrick's, St. John's, St. Andrews will have economic buzzing activities in all those areas outside of St. George's, right? And if anybody would remember, I know Pablo, I think I said to you, Pablo, Revo Economics 101 by Bond Code, and all the little things that will happen if we shall survive, still should be part of the economic development of Grenada with some twists, right? But to have everything at the saying in the south of St. Andrews, at the south of the island, it create a housing problem, right?
My recommendation, and I remember discussing that with Naz some time ago, is that I would break up the central government office for one, I've always thought that the decision to build that building in the Botanical Gardens, which was your only green space in the city, decided to destroy it. That alone, you should have been tried on treason, but that's another story. I would break it up. I would the buildings there could be repurposed, and I would distribute all the government ministries, put one major government ministry and one major statutory body. We have 26 or 27 in Grenada, in each parish. And that would immediately bring about 300 people working in these respective parishes. And it would begin to have an effect on the rural economy, like nothing else that I can see. You know? But these are challenges. These are things that we have to discuss and crunch the numbers and see if they make sense, you know, because sometimes we can think we have a really good idea, but when you crunch the numbers, it doesn't add up, you know. So
well, actually that was one of the rationale that was presented when there was that great launch of the shrimp farm.
Yeah.
Right? When Dr. Mitchell spoke at that event, he spoke about the challenges that you have with people moving from the rural communities to find work in the tourist belt, and the challenges that it brings in terms of infrastructure, in terms of, you know, living conditions, in terms of water, in terms of sanitation and so on. And that was one of the justifications for the project.
Yeah.
But right now we need to know what happened to the $50+ million that those quote unquote investors raised, because Dr. Mitchell started an investigation into that, and we are yet to hear the outcome of that, you know. And
you see that?
the commitment for sustainable jobs that, you know, the people of the rural communities were waiting on coming out of that project, you know, was never realized. And you know, so it's all about regenerating the rural economy. And once we find ways to regenerate the rural economy, I mean, half of this, you know, that challenge would be done. But essentially, we need to have a reliable public transportation system in place.
We need to have that.
People need to know that after 6, 7 o'clock in the evening, you can get transportation from in or out of the rural communities.
Yes,
I mean, back in 1979, in 1980, 1981, 1982, we knew that at whatever time there is going to be a bus coming from Sates and so going down to St. George's. So you know that you get, you know, and you knew that there was going to be one leaving St. George's at a particular time, going up to the north and so on. I mean, in 2024, we worse off than them.
Yeah, I'm saying, let's phase out the 15-seaters, right? I'm not saying ban the importation. They could be used for taxi in the private and the tourist industry, but as a means of public transportation, we have to move to those 26, 30-seaters, or else we're not going to solve that problem. And almost every accident in Grenada, a bus is involved, you know.
I too am in favor of some kind of ferry system, because before we got into vehicular traffic, we had a ferry system in place. And you're there in Guave, you're there up in Guave State, and you hear the boat blow when you swing the corner at the top of this, so you know it leave Victoria and it coming down now. So you come down now and you catch the boat, you go by the jetty, you catch the boat, and you go down. We have better facilities now. We have better jetty now than we had before. I mean, yes, Victoria needs one, and that is going to go a long way, because St. Mark need a jetty, one to facilitate the fishermen, because Walton fishermen bring show almost as much tuna and so as Guave, which is the fishing capital, you know. And so in doing that, you help to generate economic activity in the communities.
Pablo, I was speaking to some of the guys in Walton. They say for years they've been promised some form of.
Yes, I'm telling you.
Yeah, you know. But you see
there,
exactly.
I've been there. I've spoken with them.
You see what you guys have in Guave. You see what you have in Guave. You don't need anything bigger than that. Maybe you have something with a little more storage in St. Patrick's and Sates, all right? And that would aid in commerce between Grenada, St. Lucia, St. Vincent, probably as far as Barbados. I know our friend Hudson said Barbados is not in the Caribbean. So.
What is Barbados?
Well, they're not.
We'll have to discuss that at another time.
But they may be culturally Caribbean, but they're not in the Caribbean.
I know, eh?
Those are fighting words.
Hudson
Yeah.
George, Hudson George did a poem. What is
Yes.
Barbados?
Yes.
You know? What is Barbados? You want to know?
So,
You know, so
and that could end up creating a good over the life 200, 250 jobs in St. Patrick's alone.
Yeah.
Because you would have you would not only have the commercial thing, but you would now allow it to be used for entertainment and other stuff. And it would do wonders for the St. Patrick's economy, which there's no economy in St. Patrick's right now. There's none.
But I grew up in Tonga Sotes, and I was telling somebody the other day, growing up in Sotes, once 4 o'clock hits, 4:30, Sotes gone dead. That's it. It's done. Everything done in Sotes.
Now it's 2:30.
Right? So figure that out. So I think what we need to do, and I think what needs to be done across the board, is to create other activities, economic activities in the northern, northeast, northwest part of St. Patrick's, and create that environment where, like I said, for example, why do a fisherman have to go in Guelph to St. George's to get something done public? You know what I mean? Have it in St. Patrick's, have it in Guelph. So the activity, that part of the economic activity will remain where the people are the most. Farmers, why farmers have to go to St. George's only to buy hoods of fork and spade and tractors? Just have it in St. Andrews, right? So you kind of shifting the economic activities around.
Listen, we have a long way to go. I had to finally shift over the water at my parents' house from her name, because we just kept it on in her name, whatever, you know. And, you know, we were primarily down there to visit with one of our brothers, you know, who was not doing well. By the way, guys, my oldest brother in London passed away. I'm actually going to London for his funeral leave on Monday. Just
sorry to hear that.
Who's that? Emery?
No, the oldest one, the first, my mom's first.
Okay, the condolences, bro.
Yeah, sympathies to you.
So we had the other one in Grenada who was not doing too well. Thankfully, I don't know. I joked to them. I say, you were just playing dead to see what kind of funeral because the man had this miraculous recovery. But anyway, you know, and listen, family is important. He was so happy that, you know, 4 other brothers in the family decided to all come in together and find out what's going on with him and what we can do. I mean, I don't know how much that contributed, but my brother was like so ecstatic that we were there with him, and you know, it was really, really, really a nice time. But I forgot what I was going to say. I kind of segued into this. But yeah, the Sotes, I don't know. It's going to take a heavy lift, and there's just a lot of other things. Yeah, I went to so I had to go to the Butts and Dead to collect a. I went to Nawasa and they said thing. So they had on their computer that my mom was deceased. So I said, well, okay, you guys know she's deceased. I'm taking responsibility. Put it on my name. They said, no. You have to go and get a death certificate. So I went to Butts and Dead to get the death certificate. The lady told me I have to go and pay for it in the Treasury sub-office. I went to the Treasury sub-office. It was $2. Okay. I waited an hour to pay for it. There were three cashiers. 2 windows were open. One was servicing another government client who were there doing something. And they're talking. So as much as she thinks she's doing her job, she has been slowed down. And then somebody spoke up about it and they were ready to curse the lady out. And I just decided, okay, I'm not going to let this lady take all the heat. So I spoke up and I said, you know, you guys are ridiculous. I say, if I were a supervisor, I would fire you and rehire, justify you for the pleasure of it, because you guys are totally, you know, you guys giving the government a bad name. But anyway, I paid $2 for the certificate, brought the receipt back to Butts and Dead. She told me, well, we're closed now. So I begged her. I said, okay, just take the receipt. She said, come back in 3 days, 2 or 3 days for the fine. When I went back to pick it up, she said, you have to give me $5 for the stamp. I said, so why didn't I just pay for it all at once? Or why can't I just pay for it? So just imagine it's an elderly person who have to do it, right? And you send her over there to pay, then you bring back, why on a $7 transaction, two to three different people have to collect money for $7?
Wow.
I don't understand it. So these are things, it's going to be a heavy. How do you make government more efficient, and how do you make it really serve the people who are least fortunate among us? Because it's easy for me, but there are people who this is, who come in from Munich and St. Andrews to do that. It's an entire day for them.
Those things would be, again, those are the things could have been done in the Royal Parish.
Or even having the temporary license available for you at the airport.
Yeah. Those things and those little things.
And the problem is not just government. The problem is the private sector too, because Flow and Digicel does not have offices, doesn't have a store there to connect as soon as you reach if you need to. I mean, it's just, we have a lot to do. And this is where I want to see the conversation head, and how we can fix these things, make the country more efficient, make it more user-friendly for the people who are least fortunate. Because if you're an elderly lady living in Chantemelle or in Munich,
Yeah, the same way the people living in St. Mark, they have to travel to Guelph or travel to St. Patrick to pay their water bill, to pay their light bill, to pay their, whatever. But there's no facility there to take care of these things.
Yeah, and I mean, what's the point of having each parish having a tongue? In relation to what you guys are saying, why couldn't each of these towns have sub-offices?
Yeah.
For all of those things.
And then that's
Victoria would have one, Sauters would have one, Grenville.
So John, the old post office in Sauters. It's been pretty much vacant now for what, 30 years?
Wow. Okay. That's across from my house.
Yeah, right across from your house. That building's been vacant, And meanwhile, listen to that. It's a bigger building than the police station have been housed in since Ivan. And I can't confirm that. But I've been told that the police department was paying $12,000 a month for rental of their offices in Sauters from a supporter of the ex-regime.
In the courtyard? Right?
And meanwhile, not in the courtyard.
Going down the street where the bank is?
Going down the street, because the courtyard, when they rebuilt it, it became classrooms for Anglican school. So the old police station and courthouse is not there anymore. Okay. So the police station was right down opposite Mr. Stewart. You remember Mr. Stewart, right?
Yes.
So they somehow all right, at the police station. Now it has been, it was gotten in such bad state of disrepair that the government now have to close it and fix it, because you have to bring it back to whatever condition they made it. So now they're occupying the where Republic Bank used to be, because Republic Bank no longer operates in Sauters. But meanwhile, in Sauters right there, we have the post office, which the police department should have an engineering brigade that could go in and fix up that building and occupy it. Or the old health center right across from SAB Belfont has been vacant since 1982.
Wow.
So when we talk about efficiencies in government, because think about it, since Ivan, you're paying approximately $12,000 a month for a house in Sauters. Now tell me that's not corruption.
Oh boy. All right, folks, let me grab that song. And time is now 20 minutes to the hour of 1 o'clock. Pablo will be back here at 2 o'clock with the heart of the matter. We're having the brother from Tivoli conference area with the Kalinago history and African liberation comment discussion with Pablo this evening here on Gem FM. I'm hoping to resume our Saturday night show, Margaret. The talking point, our talking point, yes, right here, and with me being back here again, and I think I'll be back for a good time. I hope my activities and my health would not fail me.
Health is wealth, man. We got to take care of that.
Yeah. And be back here and doing the show again. I hope Mr. Unison will be part of the panel discussion on a Saturday night if he doesn't have anything to do. And I hope to have Margaret every Saturday night, because people accuse us of not having women on our show. And, I've been trying to reach out to so many women to come on, and Margaret has been the most faithful thus far. So I would encourage Margaret to invite a friend to be part of the panel. Perhaps she may reach another female that is kind of a similar mindset, probably of a different view on what we talk about from Grenada, anywhere else.
I've invited a few things.
Yes.
One friend told me, she said, listen, I'm happy being a Facebook warrior. I can't come on camera, So.
I know. But, like I said, it balances off what we do.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
We want the female voices to be heard.
You need that perspective,
Need that
perspective.
Believe it or not, women are our helpmate, and we have so much of male chauvinistic leadership that we forget that women are powerful. It's true. I mean, a lot of our laws are written by men.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but John,
if we did write them, they wouldn't have no wars.
Well, and that's probably true, because John, me and you speak about this all the time.
Yeah.
It was the women. It was the women in my village who changed that village. It was the women.
Women always change things for
they just came together and decided, listen, we want something better for our children. This nonsense has to stop. Okay? And they stopped it.
Yeah.
They stopped it.
I think we need more women governance. Yeah. We look at see what you want about Margaret Thatcher and Eugenia Chaz and stuff. It brought some stability.
Yeah, you don't have to agree with them, but you need their perspective.
You need their perspective. We need the female component of our relationships, whether in politics and in church or wherever. We need them. We need that part of it, because we can't live in isolation of that, And certainly, JMFM would encourage that. Those of you who watch our morning shows, it's full of women and one pastor, one male person, and sometimes I drop in once in a while. But we need to have a balance. We can't just do a card in the post office thing, just mail.
Everybody who really knows me knows I'm a mommy's boy. My mother is my hero. I would follow this lady double blindfolded to hell if she said, that's where the direction we're going. And I have an only child, a daughter, who the only way I knew how to help her grow into a young lady was just looking at the example of my mom and the things that she did. And by the way, guys, my daughter just got admitted to the University of Maryland Law School, full scholarship.
Awesome.
Great, man. Congratulations.
But she's so show off like her father. She's like, Dad, I'm exercising all my options. I'm expecting about 3 or 4 more. three or 4 more. But I wanted to, stay in the Northeast, but she.
Let the girl fly.
Hey, Margaret, one piece of child. I want to keep her as close as possible until I have no
let her
control.
fly.
Yeah.
I have this challenge right now with my Genesis,
Yeah, but we have to let them live their lives,
Want to move out to
she was a junior Stanford scholar, so she's interested in Stanford, but
Genesis want to do the same thing. She want to move.
But by the way, she says, Dad, I'm just telling you, but the decision is going to where I go to law school is going to be mine, So what can I do? But we and there's this, and listen, Grenada has these young people too who are very interested in public policy. And by the way, I don't know if Pablo willing to admit that, but the young women in Grenada are more progressive and more
of course.
Well, not only Grenada, man, the hotel, Caribbean, and even North America.
And you know how you can determine it? every little new Swift, Suzuki, or Nissan what, or Toyota
Hyundai.
what, or Subaru what, or whatever the other brands, I can't keep up with them, the names, is been driven by a young lady in Grenada. You can see them going to work, whether in the banking industry or insurance or wherever they're working. And you can gauge it by them, you know. So,
but that lens, I was going to interject a little bit earlier because seeing there's an issue with gun violence and violence in Grenada, right? Not just Grenada, but the Caribbean, but more leaning towards Grenada. And sometimes when we try to correct a situation, we go over correction, we go overboard, right? So you see, as you correctly say, the women is being more progressive. No, but is there programs specific to the young boys also? Because now you're seeing that the women are trained, even in world politics and CEOs of companies, you're seeing a huge shift towards women and in Grenada in particular. I'm particularly concerned with the level of violence around the young males. Now, what programs have we put in place for young males to target?
So we have to go back to some of the things that we did very well many years ago. And I was having a conversation, John, with our buddy, Mr. Pierre, Francis Pierre.
Okay.
And we
get to talk to him.
Huh?
We want to come here, but they offered to come at FM. I don't know why.
I don't know why, because outside of the, partisan politics, the guy has real ideas, and he's a long-time educator. He knows the deal.
Yeah.
And we were talking about the whole question of the role that the elders in the village played in our lives growing up, and the many clubs that we had, the sports club, the culture club, the history club, the disc club, that there was always something for us to channel our energies, So you don't have a lot of that now. So how do we recreate that in a 2.0 or 3.0 version? So it speaks to the point that Unison is talking about. Do we have these programs that we're making available? Because it's different raising young men and young women. Do we have programs for these young men?
Margaret.
Well, we could.
There touches on a point that my niece and I were speaking about last night, because we got into talking about this recent situation in Grenada with these young men and stuff. And the fact that there's really nothing for kids to do. You're graduating thousands of kids every single year, and they're all now going home to sit down. Idle people, idle hands, as old people used to say, the devil will find work for idle hands to do. But Delbert also touched on something there in his comments that my niece and I also spoke about. And we were speaking about our particular neck of the woods, which would be Richmond Hill, Montjaloux, and all the in-betweens across. Because when I was growing up there, every single body was related. Right? So they knew your mother, they knew your father, and it was either cousin this, auntie that, whatever. And anything you did, somebody would be checking you one time. So they took care of you. Who's taking care of who? I mean, look, that community we were talking about, that we don't know anybody there. Richmond Hill has changed totally because you've had a set of people who have also moved in, because a lot of people have gone away, families have gone away, people have whatever. And Richmond has totally changed. You have issues with people who have come in with certain behaviors and stuff that just wasn't there. And again, it comes back to the breakup of that community, breakup of families and stuff. So there isn't the environment there to create that level of support and taking care of and training kids in a certain way. I mean, it's a holistic approach that needs to be taken. We can't have kids coming out of school with no jobs, no prospects, no nothing. And especially these young boys. I mean, liming and stuff is what boys do. I'm not saying that it's right, but there are certain behaviors. I mean, girls are more likely to stay, whether or not they're conditioned that way or what, but they're more likely to stay closer to home and not necessarily do a lot of things. Boys, on the other hand, are more likely to be out there encountering, other people who, may not share their same values, may do different things, may follow because they figure, that testosterone thing has to find somewhere to go. So you guys are right. I mean, I don't know what the solutions are. I mean, they are, I mean, we could talk theoretically, but you know, getting it done in practice is a whole different ball game. You know, finding jobs, what kind of jobs?
The Grenadian businesses have to invest in our young people.
Yeah. But
because they have to understand that if these young people grow up to be productive citizens, they become their customers.
Correct.
And the businesses are not investing in young people in Grenada at the level that they should be.
But behind all that, Delbert and USA panel, I think parenting is a key factor in creating great minds. Yes?
Of course it is. My mother was 5'2", but I scared her. I was afraid of her.
Yeah, all of us grew up in good parenting, all of us here. And look at how we turn out. Good parenting. So I think one of the breakdown in our communities is proper parenting. And
but John, the kids that we're talking about, their parents are now in their late 30s and 40s.
That's what I'm saying. And they were exactly.
So these are people born after 1980.
Yeah.
We're talking about
1985, 86, you know what I mean? So those children now, they have a different, more television raising some of these children on them. Yeah. So we have to start rethinking how
you know my position on the church, but even the church played a role, because there wasn't a church organization that I wasn't part of, you know. CYO, this thing. You know, I was in all of it. Choir, I couldn't sing a note to carry my life, but I'm in the choir, you know. So
but this is what I'm saying, though. It comes back to that holistic approach of everybody assuming responsibility. And John, I'm always inclined to, when people talk about, oh, well, television, this, that, and the other, you know, I'm inclined to push back. Maybe it's because of my bias as being a media person. But, you know, there's something called individual responsibility. You know, a television can't make a child go bad. As a parent, you need to make a choice.
Exactly.
You have to decide what you want your child to look at. You need to realize that the television is not a babysitter. I'm not here to babysit your child.
That's the exact point I'm trying to make, Margaret. And
you know, and if you knew you couldn't take care of a kid, then you shouldn't have one. I'm very cold on that. I make no apologies.
I want to say that because, Margaret, you know, that's exactly what my point I'm trying to make. We are somewhat in this generation, we allow video games and TV to educate, to raise our children. And we'll leave and go with them with a video game. I know a friend of mine, she leave her child with a video game and go, where she going? She gone. I have him. I said, what is him? Yo, you hold me the video game. Like, really?
Well, I mean, and if you want to do that, that's fine. I mean, but you could also choose what video games that your child will have. Can you? You know, one of the things, I mean, that among my whole list of friends are a lot of people who are babysitters. And there's a certain common characteristic that I hear from a lot of them, that a lot of the parents whose kids they babysit, they limit how much television their kids look at. I remember a friend of mine telling me that one of the kids that she took care of, that child was entitled to 1 hour of television per day when the child came home from school. And even so, it wasn't just anything. They picked what that child could look at. Other people may make television a family viewing event, so that when they're looking at television, you know, it's a family that's viewing it and they look at it critically. I'm not saying that, you know, so there are many ways to deal with this.
Right.
You get to make the choice about what you ingest. We are not just people who move around as robots that have no agency to make choices. I think too often people want to take an easy path.
Yeah.
You know, it's easy to.
I think Pablo touched on this on a program about 2 years ago, where we talked about the absence of teaching civics in our primary schools now, you know, the effect that, because I mean, I had some good, not actually very good civics teacher, and it was not just about learning the structure of government, but it was actually about how do we carry ourselves in the respective villages. I was telling somebody only a few days ago that a friend of mine that I met in Grenada and knowing my rebel rousing days in Shaper, she said that you know, you always had that calm side to you that I didn't understand, because 1 minute you would be at war with Brother George and Mr. McPhail and them, and the next minute I would see you in the library, you're calm and you're relaxed. And she said, I didn't understand that. And I was kind of thinking back about it. large part of it had to do with the family structure that I returned to every evening, and that I know that I will be held responsible if I embarrass my parents, you know. So I don't know how do we fix it, but there are enough things that we can probably begin to revisit and try. All of it might not work in this new dispensation, but we cannot afford to be losing this generation and generation of young people. And somebody, you had a funny joke, right? Friend of mine sent me that picture of that latest incident, and I was telling him, why are we promoting this on Facebook? Because everybody you see, well, this is going to make us look bad, but you talking about it, okay? So you're giving it more ink than it really deserves. And he sent me, he's an old time Gary Wright, and always niddle me about what we did during the revolution. But he sent me the picture, and his caption below, "We should just kill them right now with no trial." Okay.
Well, it's funny that it's funny that you say that, because I mean I'm on a WhatsApp chat group, and you would not believe that is the sentiment of everybody.
Yes.
Well, not everybody. I mean, there's a couple of voices of reason who are saying there's a reason why that's not right, that you don't want to say that, and you would not believe that the rest of the people, and I mean, these are not people that you would think of as the average Joe Smo. These are people of influence in Grenada who are saying who are saying that you should just do them this and you should just do them that. And we used to say, as kids, we used to say, it takes one to know one, or you do something, it makes me like you. But that's exactly that. If I were to just subscribe to the viewpoint of saying, look, these people did this, and as such, we should turn around and do that, that makes me no different to them.
Even when in one of the clips going around where the police arrested him and just took him bleeding.
And throw him in the van. That is St. Vincent for you, and that's exactly how they behave in St. Vincent.
I deleted the thing, and I sent it, and I said, "Guy, why are you sending that to me? You know that would rub me the wrong way."
Yeah.
Telling me, man, you're getting soft in your old age, and you.
No, it's not about that, And let me tell you a point that one person made on our chat group, and all the others, and nobody came up to that. Nobody is talking about the incompetence, the ineffectiveness, the ineptitude of the police department that allowed 3 people to get away. And not only that, on the heels of those 3 escaping, another escaped.
So,
and there has always been problems with that particular station in Ranance.
Well, that should be investigated, because I don't think it was accidental.
So that is the conversation that we need to have. A friend of mine was giving me a story in the aftermath of this whole thing, that was telling me about a situation where they were supposed to be holding a prisoner for another country, and when the person came, the person was gone. As it turned out, the prisoner was able to escape for passing of a certain amount of money. So he was, so in quotation marks, he escaped. You understand? And I saw somebody else saying something. I mean, I don't know if it's true, because there are all these things that keep going around, that there was a problem with the lock and stuff. I mean, really? I mean, this is what year are we in? This is 20 how much? And you telling me a problem with the friggin' lock?
The body lock at the 99 cents.
I forget.
Store.
It just
but it does not make any sense.
It makes absolutely no sense.
But you see, the bigger problem here is that this is not just 3 young men who failed. This is the society failed them.
Correct.
Okay, and we have to own this. We have to own this, and we have to become part of the solution. And this vigilante justice. And my friend who lives in the United States, and me and him have been to demonstration against police brutality right here in the US. But here he was telling me that it was okay for the police to brutalize this man, whether he is guilty or not. That has not been determined.
But no, you know why it's okay. It's and sometimes we have to have hard and difficult conversations. It's okay for the police to brutalize him because 2 white Americans have been killed, and it's going to make Grenada look bad. And we get tourism dollars. But when people are killing and beating each other up, it's a problem. The police kill somebody in St. David simply because he looked at your woman wrong in a mistake. He's dead and family still awaiting justice. Because even though there's been a ruling, his mother ended up committing suicide. Right? But we don't talk about that. That gets swept under the rug. That's okay. We're not going to debate that, but we're going to debate this one-on-one vigilante justice. Why didn't we ask for the same vigilante justice on the officers who did that to innocent civilian who just made a mistake of looking at a woman, you know, thinking it was somebody he knew previously.
That is outrageous. Really, really. Eunice was going to say something.
I think sometimes we look at the end product, at the cause, and we look at the root, the what get us there. So I think we don't have a strong mentorship program where people in the diaspora here could mentor our youths and stuff back home. And when we sit and we make and we know we live in a country where race plays a big part. So when a black person kills a black person, as you alluded to, it's okay, you know. But when police treat a black person in Grenada the same way, it's okay, you know. And some of the things is self-identification, being aware of the different policies. For instance, I mean, used to be in law enforcement here. And if that same video occur here, you'll be on desk duty. You might be charged. Because we have human rights, and then we're saying, oh, he commit a crime, so we do. You know, that could get him off. Even in a country where the way is arrested, the chain of custody, you know, what get you there. So I don't think that we look in terms of that. But going back to what we've seen about the boys, I don't know if, John, you have a policy of the IMO that was written few years ago. It's the diaspora policy, where you have the diaspora policy of mentorship and a doctorate. All our professionals here, most of our professionals here, and have a program to go back. It's okay for we do it on Zoom, but I think we have to get down on the ground, go into the schools, in the school system.
But we certainly could start off doing it on Zoom.
Yeah, but I'm saying we could form the same.
Develop a cadre of people who have the time and work it out with the Ministry of Education. And at different times, you can have somebody come in on Zoom and speak to a classroom on whatever it is, you know? Something, you know, and there are a lot of people who are willing to do that. So it's something that John, we probably could spearhead as all part of that sort of what's the best way forward agenda.
All right. You finished, Unison?
Yes.
I will take this song and we'll come back and close, and we'll go around the table. We got Pablo to come on at 2 o'clock, and we will go around and then close. All right?
Okay.
All right, cool. Where is my song? Okay.
Here is something about the Caribbean that you probably
Come on, Johnny, go. I think that's it here.
about the
Best believe it's gonna be like 5 miles long. Best believe it's love that makes me sing this song. The clean on the waters. Friendly people meet in every corner. Togetherness and love is what we stand for. We stand for, That's how we grow, how we grow. You see as we grow and more.
beginning from the people who came to surrender their lives to revolution. Oh, it's a wonderful Lord, for the man of the gold and the one we are created.
Three islands united as one. Let's put the strength in the earth. We're more than just that island in the sun. Hello.
Yes, it's simply for the that finds a war people together.
They are truly can find the words to describe from a country to me. So much things we take for granted, but so much things they give to me. Things on tranquility. Family, community. No matter what we go in the world and so that woman's your heart. Sorry for pretty much.
Hold on. I'm taking back what they well they go here over here. So hold on.
Yes, going up higher and higher. This is Gem FM. I'm your host, the Sheriff, yours truly, the Sheriff, John Callis. And we're discussing our independence. And today we have in studio with us Margaret Francis, Delbert Baptiste, Raphael Paul, and none other than Unison Joseph. Bernard Joseph, put a Bernard in that there. We're discussing our independence and what transpired over the last couple of days leading up and during the celebration on the, I think my mic is off. Sorry about that.
And guys, we should send greetings to our brothers and sisters in St. Lucia. They're at number 45.
For 45.
Yes,
Yeah.
You know, I have a lot of family in St. Lucia, you know. I know a lot of family in St. Lucia. Yeah.
Okay. So is the St. Lucian posse
Yeah.
a pleasant, a happy independence to you.
Yep.
I think also Trinidad also celebrating 60 years as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I was and listen, it's so important to tell our history. I mean,
correction, Trinidad will be 62 on the 31st of August.
62. Oh. Thank you, Margaret. Again, I think you was 22, right? Patrick graduated.
Correct.
I was at a little cookout in my village, and we were just talking and, you know, independence and everything. And I was trying to give some of the guys there, some of them are my age and most of them younger than me, a little background. And we were talking about, you know, families that came out of the village, right?
Mm.
And when I told somebody that Jane Belfont, who recently passed away, was the original brainchild behind the Barbados tourism product.
Mm.
So it was a Grenadian lady from Chantemelle.
Oh yeah, Jane was a
And at the
darling.
same, and you know what, at the same time that she was director of tourism, because the revolution had
Yeah,
to,
she was.
they had to offer all kind of thing to come back in Grenada and take the same position, right? She left Barbados to come and work in Grenada. Her older brother was managing director of Scotiabank Caribbean Limited. The younger brother was the one who just died, Pop C.
Okay.
Clyde Belfon.
Okay.
Yeah,
The Belfon family have been a very instrumental part in.
yeah. But but here is this. These are guys that I grew up with in Chantemelle who had no idea. And they asked me, Beaver, you sure you know what you're talking about? So now I have to go and get some older heads, you know. I have to get back up, you know. I have to get back up to come and tell them, guys, yeah, this is real. This came from this village. So how many of the young kids going in Chantemelle School know about the contribution of these people? Or Clyde Belfon, the younger brother, who the year he taught standard 6, which was the common entrance class. The first year he became a teacher, they put him to teach standard 6. And every student that he sent for scholarship passed. Every student he sent that year passed. So the kids growing up, they don't know that, you know. But for me now, when we were growing up and then all of a sudden we saw all these guys from Chantemelle becoming teachers, it started to sink in our head, hey, you know, we can do something different. We don't have to grow up fighting and walking with your cutlass wherever you go in and all this kind of nonsense, you know, because these guys grew up, they became teachers who became policemen, who got jobs in St. George's and the courthouses and what have you. And it, you know, so we had something to aspire to. Yeah.
All right. So folks, I'll go on ladies first. Margaret, closing remarks.
Hey.
Closing remarks.
Well, I don't know. I mean, in the context of what we were talking about, I think that was definitely one for the record books. And yeah, you know, I mean, we have much to look forward to. There's still a lot of work to be done, and you know, we got to keep, as the song said, going up.
Yeah. All right, Pablo. Closing remarks.
I think Pablo is gone.
Are we gone?
Yeah.
Are we gone? You ready to go? Delbert?
Yeah, well, listen, like I say, we kind of covered it on the show. What I think as we get back in rotation, that this season, listen, we have a lot of interesting people on the island that we should invite to be guests. There's a gentleman by the name of Clifford Brown. I don't know if you know who he is. He runs the Caribbean Institute of Coding, or the Caribbean Coding Institute in Grenada. Very forward-thinking brother. He's somebody that has been speaking for years now in terms of how we move forward as a country. These are the kind of people that we want to. So any conversation we have moving forward, he's somebody we should try to include. In that video, one of the young man who was with the student, the teacher, he just retired. I was asking him why he retired. He's from Moncraven. You know, remember him very, very, very well. Actually, he's my god brother, for whatever that means. You know? But yeah, you know, so we have a lot of interesting people, and now he just retired and he's going to get, you know, he grew up in Davie, so, you know, fishing is in his blood. So he's going to get into going back to his roots, kind of, you know. But he was telling me about a place between Davie and Sotez that I didn't know about, that there's apparently it used to be a dock where the slave ships used to come in, and they had these irons drilled down into the water that they used to anchor the ships at. And he came onto it totally by accident, you know.
Wow.
And many people don't know about that. And then he comes from a long generation of kind of educators. So he's telling me a story that his grandmother told him that the area that we call in Leapers Hill is not the right area.
Yeah, Hudson George was the first person to come on the show and say that, a lot of people
I've heard that.
did not take him seriously. But Hudson has been saying this for years, you know, because on the other end, with the post of police station was there behind down there.
That's the actual Leapers Hill.
Right? There's a cave in the bottom of that. Back there.
And he said the idea that the Caribs jump, and he said that his grandmother or his great grandmother told him that's not the true story.
Yeah.
What happened is that the Caribs had a festival like the day before. So the British knew, was it the British or the French? I don't remember which one at this time. Knew that they had this festival and they were known to drink heavily on this festival. So they attacked them the next day because they were still in party and slightly. And that kind of,
That makes sense.
it's a conversation worth having, because the history that we were told was not written by us, it was written by our captures.
Well, the lands I will start telling the story of the hunt.
Yes. So I'm looking forward to that.
And tonight, this evening after this show, probably having a gentleman from Tivoli conference area. We'll be talking about a little bit about that history of the Kalinago people, which is same Carib people. So stay tuned, join us.
And if this celebration was that good, I can't wait for when we turn a republic. That's all I have to say.
I think that was the message too, man.
I can't. Wait. Guys, there's some crazy people in Grenada too. Our friend Jerry Edwin had a post that he dealt with the whole thing about still after 50 we swearing allegiance to the Queen and King and whatever. There's somebody in Grenada who wrote a detailed article in Grenada Today, taking Jerry to task and saying that we do not swear to the King of England, we swear to the King of Grenada, who happens to be King Charles. That's his no, seriously. And the paper published it.
Oh my God.
Well, I mean, but Delbert, that's another viewpoint. And I mean, the person has a point. The king, whether you like it or not, the king is the head of state in Grenada.
Yeah.
So
yes. But they're the same people.
But it doesn't matter. But for all intents and purposes, he is the king of Grenada.
Yeah.
So until you become a republic and you kick him out, then that's
but what kills me, right? You give me my independence from you politically, not economically, but yet I still have to swear allegiance to you, your heirs and successors. I mean, if I'm independent, why am I doing that? Why I have to swear to you still? Why should I have you over me when I should be free from you?
The definition of independence is, in this case, is that I no longer have to give you money, but I still maintain control
over you. Oh, it's like a parent that, okay, you go off to university, you have your independence, but I'm not getting no money, gotta work and find your own money, but I think I'm the father still.
And so I will continue to tell you how to spend that money, even if you're earning it yourself. I will tell you who your friend should be, even if you're supposed to be earning your money for yourself and living on your own. I will tell you who can come in your house, even if you, so that's their definition. Because guess what? At the end of the day, even if you're earning your own money, I still know what is best for you and can tell you what to do with that.
By the way, guys, but you do know that one of the few times that the British did not support an American resolution at the UN Council was over the invasion of Grenada.
That's true.
Yeah,
but I think, but hold on.
That was self-serving.
Why they did that? The only reason why they did that is because they were not consulted before. So we need to. So that's why they were upset.
Yes.
That's why they were upset.
So it was self-serving, right?
Yeah.
It was. You listen to close us off?
Yes. Thank you, John, once again. And John, before I go further into closing, I should thank you and GMFM for the independence celebrations. Here you have covered it. You have been shoulders and shoulders with us without looking for any numeration. You just did it for the love of nation, as a motto of the Grenada disaster indicated. And I would like to thank you and the GMFM for doing all you can to ensure that the celebrations was a success in this regard. So thank you. And in closing, I just want to, as the 50th celebration, and which I join with the rest of the panel in highlighting the great show, the great activities that we had for the Grenada independence, but both here and back home, that with a celebration of joy and aspiration and looking to move the ball forward. It's not a matter of who brought the ball to the park. It's a matter of how we play the game together and how we move for the next generation to come. And we, as this present generation, owe it to the next generation to provide a platform from where they could build on and doing all that we can to ensure that happens. And just here, it does a political divide. I would like to see there's going to be a common time when we politically sit down and discuss our differences. But right now is not the time for it. Now is at the time about nation building. We're in a transition period. And how we transition is utterly most important at this juncture. Leave the politics in about 2.5, we could get back to it. But there's a time for nation building. When we get together to discuss issues, we should leave the political line aside and go on the issues and build upon what we have. Not when you go to a thing, they say, where you come from, which side? You're NFP or NDC. This is about nation building. You know, let's put country before pride and political divide. We owe it to generations and generations to come. And let us form a mentorship. And I think John, the panel agree that you should spearhead that we have a mentorship program and really attack the issues that is happening in our country. I think it is a problem that we could attack together and solve it, just putting our heads and hearts together and just say, Grenada, here we are, we're going to give ourselves services. Yeah. So in closing, I would like to offer my name of wherever I could help, whether if it's just bringing Delbert a cup of water or bringing Miss Francis a cup of cool hot chocolate, cocoa tea, I will do that. But wherever I could fit in, I want to be part of this discussion.
Right. Thank you so much, Unison. And you know, we went to Unison. I was invited to a session, to a get together, meet and greet, and the host of the session was trying to make everybody feel comfortable, which wasn't very necessary anyway. But he tried to make everybody come. Who's from this organization? Before the man could say, Unison is an NMP. This one is an NMP. Everybody in the world. You know what I mean? Like, guys,
we gotta get past it.
To point fingers at anybody, all working for Grenada, and the whole idea was to bring Grenada together to help, to contribute, to know who is who.
So that's why when you go to Grenada, you should only wear earth-tone clothes. No green, no yellow, no red.
Yeah, that's why I opted to wear red.
Yeah.
I think red was the color of choice for everybody.
Yes,
accentuated by bits of yellow and
Yeah.
But I think we were good. And I wear my red today, Margaret. I noticed you have a red on your vote and your you're good. And they'll both have a blue and and
I mean, in all seriousness, I mean, personally, I am so annoyed. I can't speak. Yeah, I'm so annoyed at this point that I'm sometimes refusing to take calls from my friends in Grenada, because it seems to me that inevitably it becomes a political discussion, either one or the other. And there's more to life than politics, to be very honest with you. I'm just tired. I'm literally tired.
But Margaret, Margaret Delbert and prior to 1984, 83, we didn't have no colors, We just a white shirt. GLP had a white shirt, NP had a white shirt, and just vote for the star, vote for a change.
It was the star and the donkey, right?
Yeah.
And the house. Who had the house?
We didn't have no.
No, you didn't have the house. You had the star.
You had the Volkswagen, and when the Alliance came in.
Yeah. That's right? True.
You had the donkey, which was Blaze. You had this was Gary. Yes.
Yeah.
NGM had I think before they had the hand, right?
Why did Blaze take the donkey for the symbol of his party?
I guess because that was the mood of transport.
Yeah.
I don't know why he did that, but that was cool.
Yeah, but I am just fed up. I mean,
but Margaret, it's not even good political discussion like that centers around.
But that's exactly the point. That's the other thing too. Is this one blaming the other one and that one? I'm like thinking, but you're not friggin' different when you behave that way. I'm just tired.
I think Margaret, I think our first discussion next week Saturday night, we should talk about Grenada becoming a republic. I think that should be another discussion we need to have. on the road to becoming a republic? Should Grenada go
We
republic?
are a little ways from that.
Yeah.
Huh?
A long way from
We are a
that.
little ways from that.
Yeah,
I don't
Yeah,
want us
that
to. I don't want us to rush it.
We'll
yeah.
have a discussion
That
around it. I mean,
yeah.
we never know. Discussion spark interest. That might become a talking point in every household. You know, I think.
Well, no, people are already talking about it, and I don't know if you. I don't know if you you follow this guy on HBO. John Oliver is a British comedian.
Mm-hmm.
I'll share. He has a program that he did on the monarchy right after the Queen died.
Okay.
And it's something that I think people like ourselves who come from these British colonies should take a look at it. I'll share it with you and Margaret. I follow him, but that program was particularly interesting coming from a British, perspective. He's a comedian, but you can see someone who thinks about issues in big ways, And he did mention Grenada as one of the countries where conversations are beginning to be had about them becoming a republic.
I think we need to have the conversation, and that might shape the way even for the whole grade and think about the monarchy and how we could best.
Are we pleased that go the road of Barbados by saying that you're not a republic and appointing somebody with the title Sir as your first president? Doesn't.
Well, I think even our prime minister, I want to misquote him. He says that if you're getting rid of a government, then why do you need a president? You know what I mean?
Well, no, you have to have something.
Yeah, but I think there's a lot of ideas floating around replacing that.
And the thing is, if you're going to go that route, you have to decide, what kind of republic you want to be.
Yeah. Yes.
And all of that stuff. There's a lot of discussion.
So you could have your president, whether the president is ceremonial or executive.
Correct.
Is up to you. And your prime minister could be the person who runs government on a day-to-day basis. And that's one form. Or you could have the straight up president, vice president, and just a cabinet similar to what they have here. But there are different models. Guyana had a model similar to that.
Yeah.
And I think, and I also think
there's some really nice constitutions. I don't know how many of us, or people have read other constitutions from around the world.
And there is
really good one. South Africa has a really good constitution. Chile has another good one, and they were trying to upgrade it. They failed it with upgrading it in the last year or so. But even the one that they have now that came out after Pinochet is a really good constitution that offers a lot of guarantees and a lot of minority guarantee a lot of minority.
I think we have to revisit our constitution as well. Another thing that have to be revisited.
Oh, we don't have to revisit it. We have to throw it out.
You have to throw it out.
Well, the whole idea of revisiting, is like, I try to be nice, Bill, but
I'm throwing the baby out with the bathwater on that one.
You have to call it
I'm
what
trying
it
to be
is.
nice. I don't try to be nice.
No. You have to call it what it is. It has to be thrown out.
I think
You can't.
There's a movement right now in Grenada that making this suggestion, and I hope you guys are listening on Sunday night. We legalize, with Ewart Lane and Jerry Edwards together with Ruggles Ferguson. So
Jerry Edwin.
They're having this discussion. So you're on here every Sunday evening at 6 p.m. So I invite you guys to check it out. All right. So with that being said, it has been a plum pleasing pleasure. It was a privilege.
That was my Form 4 history teacher, man.
Edwin?
Yeah, he was still a student. He was in Form 6 and student teacher.
I tell you something, when I look back at how we were then, we was far advanced for our age and our physical.
Actually, he and Ruggles were student teachers in Shaper at the same time.
And I look back now, and I look
Ruggles went to Shaper?
Yes, Ruggles is a Shaper boy.
The Guelph guy too. The Republic of Guelph.
Ruggles was the first president of the first organized student council in Shaper.
But I know Ruggles in high school.
He came
because he went to high school.
He and Lala.
Ruggles was one of two guys who went to high school. In my time, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he left Shaper in
Form 6. Form 6. He and this guy. Oh gosh, what's his name? He was an ambassador there. Oh gosh, he named
Tally Francis.
Not Tally. He was
Fletcher.
in the EU.
Not Stephen Fletcher?
Stephen?
Yes, Stephen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let me tell you, let me
What
just
they left, yes, Stephen
hold
was a
on.
shaper guy
So
too.
hold on.
Yeah, they went to Form 6 in high school.
This cadre of leaders we have today, and I'll just make a mention of some of us. Delbert Battis, John Kellis, Remy Noel, Teacher Eddie.
Where's Remy?
Remy is in States. Teacher Eddie. You had what's the guy name? Help me here, Delbert. Help me with something. You have Dessa David. You have Patsy Lewis.
Yeah.
You had Wendy Crawford.
Richard.
Dr. Mitchell. You have Ken Whiteman. Who else we had again?
Richard Duncan.
Richard Duncan. You had
Garvin
Shane
Stone.
Ross.
Shane Ross. Pete Ventu.
Pete Ventu.
What's her name? Remember, came from Dominica to be with us. Debbie Douglas.
Debbie Douglas, yes. So that's all of us was in this grouping of students' council that was aspiring to be future politicians of Grenada, in a sense, because it was all
and you know what I remember about that clique? I don't remember any competition.
We had no competition.
No.
And that guy name was the director of public prosecution, Nelson.
Nelson.
So Nelson was the president at one point. Then you had Tally Francis. Then you had Stephen Fletcher being the president of the national.
I don't remember anybody backbiting or
competition. We was good.
Yeah.
We were young leaders, of the revolution in students' council movement. So I think we have done well, all of us, in that grouping. Because when I go back, I think I'm the supposed to a doctorate right now. But that's okay. We're all good. We're all good. We are leaders in our own way and doing our things in our different gifting, and that makes us unique. Yes.
We forgot Adrian St. John, man.
Adrian St. John was part of it. Yes.
Brian Beggs.
Brian
Beggs. Yes.
Dexter Olive. Leroy Noel.
Yes. You had this guy from PBC. What's
Kenny Paul.
Kenny Paul, yes.
Oh man.
So a lot of us, we did well. I can remember you had Gerald Paul from SAD.
Gerald was the most morally upright, straight person that I can remember.
He was really different.
He had a sense of right and wrong
too, right?
from such an early age thinking about it now, I don't know where he got that level of maturity from.
Well,
Adrian was like that too.
Yeah. But I think that era of young leaders ourselves, I think we're way ahead of our time.
Yeah. But Gerald just always was very, very clear in terms of right and wrong and how do you deal with people, how do you treat people. I always remember him for that. And in the early years in New York,
you would think that Gerald Paul coming from Tivoli in that era and that time was happening. I don't want to be around these revolutionaries and them.
Yeah.
Different. He was like you say, very moral.
But he was a person of strong character. So if he saw value in something, he would tell you. And I remember him, even when things didn't go, he would speak up. He was never afraid to speak up, but he always stayed true to the process,
Well, we did well. All of us are leaders in our respective discipline, and I just happen to be glad the way all of us turn out, and we're doing what we had to do, So kudos to all of us.
So now we have to write the I don't know if it's the second or third chapter, but I'm willing to write another chapter.
All right, I think Patsy Lewis and Fatih and Potiphar.
Patsy and Potiphar,
Patsy and Potiphar.
Yeah, they were sisters, right? But sisters. And I think
they're sisters,
Marlene too is one of the Marlene. She's going Hannigan High School.
Yeah.
Harris. Is Harris her last name?
There was a lot of other young.
There's another girl from St. David's. I know.
Jackie in England.
Debbie Gray. Yeah, Jackie was part of the Students' Council movement too. And Debbie, I think Debbie Gray, Debbie White, or whatever her name. She's on the Spice Island thing with Chris Diggs and them.
Yeah.
And
there's a whole cadre.
A lot of us are there. All right.
But that's what that just that you mentioned it, I just thinking, I don't remember any competition among anybody.
We never had that.
People.
No, that
Everybody
was
getting
different.
along and pulling their weight to
No,
try
no,
and
no,
get
no.
things done.
People had a common goal that they were working towards. It wasn't
Yes.
about who could yeah.
No, it wasn't over power. We want power. We want to overthrow a movement.
All right.
So, all right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys so much. And Margaret, join us next week, Saturday night, 8 p.m. Unison could join us next week, Saturday night, 8 p.m. And they're talking about Delbert as my co-host. So, you know, probably I'll make Margaret host one show one night because I gotta shift it around, you know. It's different person who hosts the show on different topics. Any topic what you want to discuss tonight, and we will just have a discussion around it. Yes? Instead of me hosting every time, you'll have a different person hosting the show on Gem FM. I don't want to sit in the seat every time. And then Delbo did one night already before. So that was an uncomfortable seat for him, but you know. And Margaret could always host that.
But I have to give you, yeah, it was very uncomfortable. I was like, yo, why is John putting me up to this, man?
I agree, Del, but you don't want to be in that.
This is, but here, actually, I did it twice. And the first time I remember you kind of got sick right at the last minute, and you tell me, you know, and then
you sure that was not convenient sick?
Yeah.
No.
I'm thinking about I have to rethink that now, right?
You need to rethink that.
But the guest was Jerry was the guest. Jerry Hopkins was the guest. You remember that?
Yes.
And previously, me and him had gotten away on a previous show.
Yes.
So,
and you wanted to walk on the show.
Yeah. but Jerry called me afterwards and told after the show, about a day or two afterwards, he called me and he said, yo, man, I didn't know you have that in you. I thought you were just an agitator from the sideline. And we had a really good laugh about it, you know. And then there was that other time I remember you were genuinely sick and Naz came on and I hosted and he called me afterwards too. And Fred Parker called me and told me same thing that Jerry said, man, I thought you just gave trouble from the sidelines, but he said you took Naz to task on these questions and them, and it was a really good discussion. So it's not my comfort zone.
I think Pablo had hosted most of my shows for me.
Yeah.
I had the COVID.
Yeah, Pablo have that person, that cool.
Pablo has it.
That's not for me.
I agree with you there, but that's not for me.
I think we have to get a shift around.
That I'm more of a kind of Pat Buchanan on the left kind of.
You understand? Exactly.
We need to have one topic about. I had an idea about women in politics and child rearing. You know, some discussion around that. You know. So probably Margaret could probably spearhead that one.
No. Hey, where Hudson? Me and Hudson was supposed to do a thing.
Yes, your Hudson. Yes. So what happened to that though?
Well, no. I guess everything kind of like just fell apart.
Yeah, I want to see Hudson focusing on something with the culture, man.
Yes, Hudson and I was supposed to be doing something on kind of like, you know, traditions and folk tales and stuff.
Yes.
Yeah, there's so much that he knows about, and not just Hudson know the different villages of Grenada, and he can tell you something about the people. If you tell him my last name, he could tell you what village you come from, what parish, you know. I mean,
not only that. They're always not belong to Grenada from Barbados, and they're moving here. The grandparents moving to Barbados.
Yeah, he knows how some families where they, you know, that's remarkable.
So
I love listening to him on those things.
All right. So folks, thank you guys so much. And we will link up next week Saturday night and Saturday morning again as usual. The Caribbean is coming back Saturday morning.
All right, great, man.
All right.
All right, guys.
All right, night.
Tata.
Bye-bye. Yeah.
Mario, sorry for taking from the laundry.
I know, right? Tata.
All right, blessings.
On the 31st of August.
62. Thank you, Margaret. Again, I think it's Trini too, right? Pat Trini graduated.
Correct.
I was a little cookout in my village.
And all right.
All right.
Yes, yes, true blood, sweat, and tears. Thank you, Grenada. Thank you. Some begins, Janet Ivan and Emmett. You've been a refuge to our entire family. Federal rebellion, rebel assassination, intervention, and the list goes on and on. Thank you for the love and protection. We have the your practice to water. Where I was born, my silence. Thank you for the news. Yes, we love you.
Tariku, please imagine to split the island, culture loving people. Thank you, thank you. Thank you, thank you. Thank you, thank you. Traditional dancing around the maple, dancing with the cake and fricata to the world. Banjo and quattro, barangin in the street, chai and black wine, and endless bunny. Oh, my land, where Tombstone Field was born. Oh, my land, Saraka and Maroon are rich tradition. Oh, my land, where our culture is safe and strong. Oh, my land, all thanks to the system island. Renee Peachy Money too. Yes, we love you. Thank you, thank you.
God bless this nation for what I love. As we go on, be and beyond. Thank you for all that you've done. It's still we can do.
Let's regain what's lost. Go into the lead. Back country, beautiful waterfall. Yes, we have it all.
Miles of love, and I'm not home. Oh, God, I must go.
Let's all you come. You can just bring it down. Let's all you come. You can just bring it down. The cleanest springs on the waters. Friendly people meet in every corner. Togetherness and love is what we stand for. We stand for, yeah, stand for. Oh, that's how we've grown out far we run. We be as we strong and more to come. More to come. More to come. We're blessed with more than just going up, going up, going up, going up, going up, to reminisce on the richness of our history from the beginning, from the people who came to sugar and jam, emancipation to revolution. More than let's make up on the road, more than the ice cream and gold. But more than enough, never enough gold. And the one we are brilliant. Three islands united as one. Let's we're more than just that island in the sun. Tell the world if they have been blessed with more than fire. We're going up, going up, going up. Build that band of more people together. We're going up, going up, going up, really and truly, can't find the words to describe from a country to me. So much things we take for granted, but so much things they give to me. Things on tranquility. Family, community. No matter where we go in the world, there's no that woman's world. It feels we strong and more to come, more to come, more to come. So from here. Sorry.